Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Swing and a high drive back by the Red Sox bullpen. Back at the wall. Butler looking up. It's gone. Into the Red Sox bullpen. Masataka Yoshida. A two-run homer. The Red Sox third long ball of the night. And it is 7-0.
What scheme's got here? Here's a 2-2. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Inside fastball. 10 strikeouts for Paul Skeens.
2-1 hit in the air, deep right center. Back goes Mullins to the center field fence. That ball is long gone. Dansby Swanson with a long home run to right center. More towards center than right, but long gone. He got all of that one.
Let's hum. Let's be humming. Let's be humming now. Nice job, D. That's where you play run defense right there.
And you can't talk about our defense without starting with talking Monty Kiffin.
His personality was just so outgoing, and he just fired the players up. And I got something from him that way because I'm not an emotional type of guy. I was more the intellectual coach. But he coached energy, and he coached effort and enthusiasm, and it worked for us.
That defense that Monty coordinated was the best unit that had ever played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He became part of the fabric of the Tampa community. He was so beloved.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. You can catch us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. What's up, DB?
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. Yeah, I never know what I'm gonna say when you say what's up. So it just is. Sometimes it sounds pretty dumb.
I never know either.
It's just whatever.
That's why I do it.
Whatever vibe hits me.
Whatever vibe is vibing.
You got that vibe.
We got a Wimbledon semifinal this morning.
Yeah.
I know you're excited.
I mean, listen, it's your guy Alcaraz, even though he's not really your guy. He's your guy. He's kind of your guy. All these guys are your guys until they take the big fat L.
The only guy that I've actually said is my guy is Alcaraz. I really like Alcaraz.
Yeah.
For some reason, you thought I was a Yannick Sinner fan. I don't know how that happened.
Well, because you were trying to. I was gonna say cram it down you're trying to force him on me.
How's I trying to force him on you?
Well, I just felt like he came up a lot in discussion.
Just because he was on. He was just on TV.
And yeah. So we got your guy Musetti and Joker. And then we have Alcaraz and Medvedev, right?
That's who's playing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought you were trying to figure out who
my
other guy was.
No. Just doing like that thing that keeps you here for 48 minutes. So we can't ever leave when you have to program the TV lineup.
Yeah. Well, you know.
I'm like, how hard can that be in July? But then I got to thinking, I was like, well, Robbie probably likes the big three, and he wants patrons to watch the big three.
Yesterday, there was nothing.
Well, you didn't watch CFL?
No.
Oh, man. Alouettes?
No.
Did you ever watch Tom and Jerry with the Little French Mouse?
Yeah. I'm familiar with the song. I'm less familiar with the CFL. I'm more familiar with the song than I am the CFL.
I will give you one of the things that always makes it interesting is you have tremendous range.
Yeah.
Like I could probably bring up something about NASA, maybe field hockey.
I could definitely do NASA. My uncle works there.
Yeah, Mr. OnStar.
Exactly.
Welcome to OddsStar. This is for people like my nephew's partner who has zero sense of direction. Why doesn't this thing work?
I can't read.
I just can't believe, shout out to all the topographers, but can you believe people used to function with just like one of those maps that you'd get at the gas station? That's incredible.
Yeah. When I was 17, my mom and I went down to the South to look at a bunch of colleges because I was looking at places because I thought I was going to play baseball in college.
Yeah.
Not like good base, like NAI, like not real high
level. So
NAI is good ball.
Yeah, I was going to say at the collegiate level.
NAI is really good ball, but I don't want anyone
players
to misconstrue that I was any better of an athlete.
Don't worry about what they think. They'll be fine.
And so we were looking at a bunch of these colleges and stuff. And it was, this is 2005. So we literally, when we land, we buy I think it's like the airport gift shop. We buy a map of the region.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And we're literally just going I'm just navigating for her in the front seat. We like rent a car and we're going to, I think we landed in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Had training camp there.
And then there's a couple colleges there.
Wofford.
Yep.
That
was not one of them that I was going to because that was higher level. But
listen, speak of a word that elicits trauma.
Yeah.
So we were doing this 9-on-7 inside run.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at that time. So Anthony Johnson was he was the veteran. Biak was coming back off a knee injury. There was myself. There was Jerome Lane. They were using this fullback, Scott Green from Michigan State, that was up there. And it was a Brian somebody or another. And he's a big dude. We were doing
Brian Boitano.
There's a joke in there, but I'm not making it. No, a little more physical in stature.
Okay.
So we were doing these installations, and we were putting in counter.
Yeah.
Joe Pendry was the offensive coordinator at the time. It's weird how just I can remember things that are so vivid.
Yeah.
But again, I know how it made me feel.
Yeah.
So we're running counter, and I'm watching these guys, and it's like, hey, don't bounce it, right? They're gonna want you to spill it. Gotta be disciplined. Gotta be disciplined. And much like the time that Trev threw me over the Gatorade water dispensers for not doing what was on the card. About the third time through, I was getting like 2-yard runs, and everybody was, they would put their face mask in, get back, Rook. I'm like, man, I'm gonna break one of these. I'm not keeping mine, we're in half rack.
Yeah.
Right. Man, I thought I saw, so like the third rep, I was getting like one out of every 34,000 reps. And on like the 34,000th and one rep, I saw a little daylight. So I was going to bounce it. Now keep in mind, it's 9-on-7. So there's no corners and man, unblocked safety. There's no wide receivers. So of course it looks a little daylighty.
I was gonna say, so it's gonna look like there's daylight.
Man got smoked. I felt like, however long your neck is, I felt like it was about 7 inches longer, like mecha neck off of He-Man, where I could just stretch my neck because he ran through the top. He ran through the top of me. It was Patrick Terrell. Ooh. That was the say. Not that I remember. It was Pat Terrell.
You out there feeling like Napoleon Kaufman with that long neck.
And I just laid back, and I remember getting food. We were eating in the dorms afterwards for lunch, and hey, Rook, why are you walking like that? Yeah, man, leave me alone. I'm just gonna go eat my made-up fake deli meat sandwich. All right. That's what Wofford makes me think of.
My man turned you into Burnt and Hanks and then was like, hey, why are you walking funny?
Kinda. Pendry was like, damn it, Fort Benning, what I tell you. You don't listen. I was like, Fort Benning? That's the first time I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said it was a place down in Georgia. I was just glad to have a nickname. Shoot. So that's
what Spartanburg means.
Yeah, that's Spartanburg. The heck with reading a map.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe we got on a bus to go there.
Yeah,
because it's not far from Charlotte.
Yeah, no, everything down there is like, I mean, not everything, but a lot of stuff down there is relatively close. Like,
yeah,
and that's why we picked Spartanburg, because it was like sort of centrally located, all the places we were going. But yeah, I'm just literally sitting there trying to figure out, like, just on a map, just be like, okay, well, I think this highway's coming up here, and then
I just can't imagine. So what major? I don't want to get into what he does at NASA, considering he does not buck the trend. He's actually really smart.
Yeah, he's got like 4 PhDs. He's ridiculous.
Player hating degrees. Is he like a regular Casanova?
No, he's been.
Don't hate the navigation system I invented. Hate the game.
Married for like 40 years.
God bless his heart.
Yeah,
he's 50 years old.
No, he's old. No, he's 10 than that. He's like.
I know. I said I'm only.
Oh
50.
yeah.
10 less to Blissville.
I was gonna say he's. I don't know how old he's probably pushed. He's in the 70s, I think.
Well,
my dad
for 40 years. It's incredible.
Yeah,
I suppose people got married. Do you guys get? Not you guys.
You guys. What do you mean, you guys? Depends on.
Was get married early a cultural thing?
I don't think so.
Not sure.
It wasn't from. Well, so it may have been at one point, but a lot of my dad's siblings like went off to like do other things after school.
Yeah.
So like,
smart family.
yeah. Well, I mean, his family's super smart. Like,
so's mine.
He
kind of sucks.
So like my dad went to. I find out new stuff about my dad like every year that I had no idea.
It's a fascinating conversation when we were leaving the other day about his inability to answer the phone.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I could function like that.
Yeah. Well, he just doesn't care. He's just like, I'll get to it when I get to it. But no, so like he went, like he traveled the world and was doing a bunch of stuff, and then he kind of lands in the U.S. and is working and whatever, and meets my mom, and so which that whole
because you said he's Art Vandelay, right? Importer exporter.
Oh yeah. That's how he got. That's what he came over here to do.
I doubt he was going by Art. But.
No, he goes by Andy, which is not his given name. That's his. I'm gonna make this easy on white people name.
I see a lot of people that in the service industry that.
Yeah.
When I look at their name tags, I'm like, that's not your name.
Yeah, that's not my name. No, yeah, they try it a lot of, especially at the time. So when he got over here in like the 70s, I think, late 60s, early 70s, somewhere in there. And so like, especially at the time, like it wasn't super common to have like a real ethnic names and stuff. So he was like, we're just gonna go
Andy.
We're gonna go by Andy. Make life a little easier on people.
Yep.
But
Toy Story way ahead of his time.
Yeah, he didn't get married until his 30s, I think.
Yeah, bless his heart. That should be a law.
And then
I mean, shout out to all you.
Yeah.
I married my
high school
college
sweetheart,
bull,
whatever. Yeah,
high school sweetheart person, but yeah,
I've done it both ways, and I prefer the older marriage.
Yeah. One more experience. Did you watch any of the ESPYs?
Little bit.
I didn't.
It doesn't do much for me.
I didn't watch 1 second until I was on my phone looking at the app of old ESPN. And the very first thing that pops up on the home thing is Mr. Gleason.
Yeah.
So what I do, I click play. I kind of like that. Didn't miss the ESPYs, but I kind of like that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. All I caught was some random clips of Serena.
He gave a speech.
Yeah.
So how come I don't know. I mean, people can do what they want, especially when you've been as successful as she is. But the blonde hair.
I mean,
there's no need to be Judgy McJudge. Should I just let that one ride?
Yeah, I think you let that one go.
Well,
it's kind of a whatever she feels like, I guess.
I wonder who her eyebrow threading person is. I wonder if I should do that.
Get your eyebrows threaded?
Dude, have you seen how bad my eyebrows are?
They're
awful.
I'm looking at them. I don't really notice anything right now, if I'm being honest. They just look like eyebrows to me.
Yeah, but still,
I don't really.
So I think technology is fantastic.
Yeah.
Because he's not speaking, but he's giving the speech. And even the voice of you have to go back and this is things that I think about that maybe most people don't. Even the voice transcription of the speech kind of sounded like I envisioned,
like the computer AI voice or whatever.
You had to read, yeah, sounded like I would imagine Gleason would sound, especially in the tail end of like what happened. So this is probably like 2012 or 13, and the only reason I follow the story is because we have a friend in the business that is a huge Steve Gleason fan. And it's
Severe?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's Saints.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's a big Triumph guy.
Sure.
Overcoming.
So
like I just been following this story, and it is absolutely incredible. They only gave him 3 years in 2009.
Because it's ALS, right?
Yeah. It is 2024.
Man.
He said, my favorite thing about this night is getting to wear my tuxedo. And then he said another funny line. He's like, if you guys going to be something about being self-indignant, or if you've never been afraid, you're being disingenuous or something. He says, you can roll your ass right out of here. I was like,
do you want a little clip of it?
Yeah. Okay, I'll take a clip.
Support from my family, community, and caregivers. I'd have been dead years ago. Through this lens, you can see we're all in this together. We are all citizens of the world. Given our interconnectedness, the greatest aspect of our purpose is to generously help, serve, and love others. Do we have the courage to unconditionally love our neighbors, our so-called enemies, and love ourselves?
Right. Yeah, that's the computer voices have gotten way better.
So is that what that is?
Yeah.
Because I was like, it totally added to the speech.
Well, because you're used to the like Stephen Hawking version of that, right? And I don't know what Stephen Hawking sounded like originally, because I don't know that I ever heard him. But that sounds much more human than it does computer.
It was incredible. And
if you hadn't,
because I didn't mean to, I wasn't going to sit because I wasn't going to sit and listen.
Yeah.
And then I just kept going and going, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to ride this one out.
If you hadn't told me that was
not Gleason,
a computer, I probably wouldn't have assumed that.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty good.
It's incredible.
Yeah. And I don't know what he sounded like, but it sounds like a real person.
I'm like,
it sounds like a real person, which is incredible.
I just wanted to know how they did it.
Yeah.
So I was like, color me curious.
So that's that AI, man. You gotta watch out. It's gonna become self-aware.
Right now, just color you. No, it's not.
You all right?
Yeah.
You right there?
I'm good.
You doing okay?
Just hanging out.
Just hanging out.
Well, yeah, I know.
Well, we're going to hang out with a few of our friends today. Coming up at 8 o'clock, we're going to talk to Tim Verghese.
Nice job, Shane.
From inside Nebraska, part of the Rivals Network. At 9, we're going to talk to our guy Mike Sautter from Hurrdat Sports and NEB Preps. And then we will wrap up the day.
Little sit-down series.
Yeah.
He got Flan.
He does. He did. I love Flan.
I don't know if I'm Coach Flan. Would I have sat in the same room as Sautter? I mean, good on him. He is a nice guy, though.
Flan's a good dude.
So I could see him taking one for the team.
And then we'll wrap up the show with Matt Vrzal at 9:45, as we always do.
How about this dude just banging on my door yesterday?
What happened?
Just Vrzal being Vrzal. I get like one visitor every, 416 days.
Yeah.
He sent a text early. You home? That's all it said. I said yes. About an hour and 20 minutes later, he acts like the feds. At least that's what I hear when I watch it on television.
Bang, 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 bang.
Right.
Yeah.
Like just unnecessary.
Yeah.
So that kind of made me mad.
Yeah.
Because I was like, just be a normal person. Like, who's doing that to my door? And I'm in the kitchen. I'm the only, I don't know where everybody else is. I think people are outside. I don't know. So he was playing memory on the deck. I'm like, but anyway, so he comes in and I have no idea what he wants.
Yeah.
He's just coming by. And he left me a t-shirt, and it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah. What is it?
It is. So it's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Verse.
And he's shutting that place down from, get this, T-Phrase is having one too. T-Phrase is even worse. T-Phrase is Sunday.
Yeah.
He's 12 to 1. 12 to hyphen. 12 until hyphen.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so it's a long time.
It's extending.
Yeah.
Verse is 3 to hyphen. Who's doing that?
I mean, wasn't yours like 3 to hyphen?
Yeah, but I'm in my own home.
That's fair. You're at
right.
Your house.
Like,
yeah.
I was, and it's just too accessible.
Yeah.
So he brings this t-shirt, and it is absolutely incredible. It basically has like a mugshot of him on one side,
okay,
and then the police statistics on the other. And the picture, listen, you know how you picture a serial, you're like, oh, that guy looks like he killed someone.
Yeah.
That's totally the picture he used, but it's a real picture of him. And on the back, it says, "Are you sure he's okay?" And it's in quotes, and it's his grandpa, because when he first saw him, that's what he said. I'm definitely wearing that today. So he wanted to bring me that. And he said, well, you're pretty cool with let me wear all the T-shirts that bash you. So I thought I'd do you a solid. I was like, on your birthday? Oh, that's so nice. I'm rolling with that.
That's funny.
Now, it's a T-shirt.
Yeah.
So I'll have to find a long sleeve to wear under it.
Yeah, because of course.
Yeah.
You got some issues.
It's not right.
You gotta Shaka Smart that thing.
I want you to know, last time you said that about me having some issues with the whole washing of my belly button thing, go Google what happens in there. I don't think that's weird at all.
I think it's weird that you aggressively scrub your belly button that hard.
Read what happens. You'll scrub too. Dude, it's like an incubator.
It's freaking bats.
I don't think there's any bats in there, Shane.
Dude, it's traumatizing.
I'm just saying, man.
So yeah, I wish I'd have taken a picture.
You don't gotta like make yourself throw up.
This is a total. I just was getting carried away.
Yeah.
It got away from me.
Kind of like washing your face and almost passing out in the shower.
If you do that in practice, you'll see how that happened.
Yeah, but I don't think you're doing it on purpose, right? Like
No.
that also got away from you.
No, I practiced like what happened. I think part of it was me applying pressure around the orbital area too.
Around the eyeballs, kind of
I think
mess you up a little bit.
Yes. There's rares.
I need you to like lock in a little bit better in the shower before you injure yourself.
Dude, it's just like I totally need to. But I know. I should just
like I'm not saying you shouldn't clean your belly button. I'm saying you should.
I do need to lock in
You
a little
shouldn't
bit.
get to the
I've had a few mishaps. No. See, that's not what it is. Although the time that I coughed and hurt my back,
that makes you feel
I
old.
felt old.
That makes you feel old.
I felt old.
When you like sneeze and you're like, oh, my back.
Yeah. But that, yeah, I probably do need to lock in.
Dude, I knew a guy that sneezed and burst his spleen.
Really?
It almost killed him. A sneeze. Because he apparently had mono and didn't know it.
Oh, ouchie.
And so the spleen, the sneeze was so violent, his spleen was like kind of primed to go.
Burst, yeah.
And it almost killed him. He survived and he's a good dude because I didn't meet him till after that.
How do you not know he had mono?
No.
Interesting. I've heard of that, like with pneumonia.
He's one of those guys that just like, just kind of tough guy, just goes to work.
Shout out to him.
That's actually
How do you get to be friends with those guys?
He was the dad.
Must have been by default.
He was the dad of the family I nannied in college.
Oh, I forgot about your nannying days.
Yeah.
If I had it to do over again, I would fill out, like I'd get on LinkedIn and ZipRecruiter and say I'm a nanny. Those folks get paid.
Yeah, they were good. I mean, for a college job, they were good to me. Like it was.
Is that where you started your nest egg?
That's where I started my V Mertz fund, just.
This is going to go a long way in helping me have rich friends.
No, they're good people. Yeah, they were 5 kids, though, man. It was a lot.
Yeah,
it was a lot.
So TK, of course, because he has all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just ask him. Although he had a great text. Now I'm not going to give him any props. He had a decent text yesterday.
Yeah.
He said they probably fed that. They probably fed AI that makes the voice any recordings they had of Gleason and adjusted it after a couple of generations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, good job, TK. Way to kill my wonder and amazement.
It's still incredible they can do it.
Fudge. Operation Buzzkill.
Like, just because you know how they do it doesn't make it any less incredible. Like, that's the thing you have to get over. It's like just knowing the mechanics of it's still incredible.
Yeah. So, like, when they hired Butler, you want to know what behind the scenes? Would it still be an incredible hire?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll talk about it.
Listen, good hire's good hire. We'll be back with more.
We will be back. 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 You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage. We did have despite a fairly slow sports night in terms of games.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Did have a couple significant things happen last night. One, and both Nebraska related. Obviously, John Butler's hiring became official.
Can I interest you in some salty club soda?
No, I'm good. I experimented with my own drink this morning, and I haven't decided how I feel about it yet.
Didn't you? Was it new to you?
Yes, this is a new combination I'm trying here.
I was like, what? You went left hand or?
Yep, I was. Nope, just poured left. No. So I got my Diet Coke in there, but I've been taking some like powder supplements, not Spark, because I'm not you.
Okay.
But they're like orange flavored, and I was like, I wonder how the orange would taste in the Diet Coke.
Careful.
What?
Orange.
What?
It's hard to get right.
You're not an orange fan?
I love orange Gatorade, as my daughter would say, but that is on the bottom.
When it's bad, it's bad.
It's awful.
I didn't have an
of the basic flavors, that may be last. No, cherry would be last, probably.
I love a good orange, though.
Cherry rots.
Like, when the orange is good, I really, really like it. I didn't have an option though. This was just that's all they came in was orange or unflavored, and the unflavored is never actually unflavored. It's always got like a medicine-y aftertaste.
My protein, my collagen is
unflavored. Yeah, and I'll buy it. So
it tastes like sawdust.
My options were orange or unflavored, and I was like, all right, we're gonna roll with the orange a little bit here.
In Coke?
In Diet Coke, yeah.
Didn't they used to call those a suicide? Wasn't there an orange Coke phenomenon, Shane?
I don't know. The suicide is when you like did all of them,
all the flavors. Yeah, you just go all the way
you
down.
Like go and do a little bit of everything, like because people were children.
I got my wrist slapped and was like, just pick one. All right, Mom. President of the No Fun Zone.
I just did diet because that's all I could drink without having some serious issues. So, so yeah, I mixed a little orange with the Diet Coke. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's not bad. So I had these like vitamin waters, and I had an orange flavor of the vitamin water, and so I've been mixing with those because it kind of match the flavors a little bit. But I'm out of the vitamin water.
Yeah, so. I'm out on the flavor orange. I knew we were going to do sports here in a second, but that got me thinking about the conversation that we had off air because today's National French Fry Day.
Yep.
And I told Coatney because he does it every day.
Mm-hmm.
God bless Coatney. That's going to be one of the good things about when the football season starts is like he kind of raises the spirit of the room because he's a comedian. And I told him I don't eat French fries is one of the two things that I don't eat, but I get what all the fuss is about.
Yeah.
Right. That and pizza.
French fries are phenomenal.
And people are very particular about
they have very
strong
strong feelings about their preferences.
And they're very particular about their pizza.
Yeah.
Neither one of those things I can really relate to, but I understand it.
Yeah.
And I get the wings thing, but I eat wings and I'm particular.
Yeah, I don't mess with a steak fry at all. I don't like a steak fry.
Now, if I was going to indulge, I know what I would want. I
like the crispy.
I'm a crispy thin guy.
Yeah, the little I really enjoy Freddy's French fries. They're like,
aren't those strings?
They're like shoestrings and they're crispy.
Yeah, Micah told me those were buns. Do you know what buns means?
I don't.
Not good.
Booty.
Yeah,
like not good.
I assume.
Yeah, I don't care. He's a child.
You should have seen him and Beres go round and round yesterday. Dude, you talk about two strong-willed people.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to tear my kitchen up.
No, I do like Micah, but I mean, he's, he'll mature at some point and have better taste.
Buns.
But no, I like the thin ones. They don't always have to be that thin, but I want a thinner fry. I'm not messing with a steak fry at all. Like I have no interest in that whatsoever.
Are you particular about your pizza?
Oh yeah, very.
Yeah.
Like that's why I like Verghese is because it's pretty close to like exactly what I want.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
Zoe went to Chuck E. Cheese, and of course they didn't eat there. They bought these 60-minute things. It was originally for her birthday, but she was with Sadie.
Yeah.
Amber rolled in, right? Who knows what happened? I'm just glad I wasn't there. But anyway,
she like towing the boat behind her, like she was over the
she
weekend.
messages. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna get the girls pizza."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, okay." And Zoe comes home and she has like this little individual thing of Cops Pizza. I'm like, "What? Chuck E. Cheese the kitchen was broke?" Or I didn't say anything. I mean, she's 6, and I don't like talking to her anyway. But I did ask her. I was like, "Well." It was a mini pizza you hadn't eaten all day. So why did you brought home 2 pieces of a 4-piece mini pizza? And she goes, yeah, it's not like it's Maddie's Pizza, Dad. I was like, right. Because I've seen this girl knock off.
Yeah.
He writes on her pizza boxes, and I think she just thinks he's cool. So, but she crushes his cheese pizza.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
he's the crust is I like a thin crust. I prefer crispy, a little bit crispier, but it doesn't have to be like that cracker crust, like some people. I don't mind that one, but I need a thinner crust. I don't like a lot of sauce. I'm like a very like cheese heavy, and then give me my toppings.
Yeah,
and Verghese crushes those.
I completely understand.
Those are about perfect. So
yeah, I'm out on orange though, unless it's Gatorade.
I like orange.
So orange juicy or orange like McDonald's drink? I think that's important. Not to go all Amazing Daniel to reset the.
No, I do. So I like them both, but they are different flavors. Like orange juice and oranges, like natural, or is it totally different? It's kind of like strawberries. Like strawberries and strawberry flavored things don't taste the same at all.
One of my favorite flavors, though.
Right? I like both, but
you like turtles?
I like turtles, but separately. Right? I'm a big separate but equal guy. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. Wow.
With flavors. I don't. What do you think I was talking about?
Ravi here for school board policy.
What did you think I was talking about?
King of civil rights over there.
Kansas versus the Board of Education. Kansas versus Brown. No.
Literally.
No, I like. You're right. They are very distinct flavors.
So, are you talking about orange drink?
So
or like
this
orange,
is like orange drink, like it's
closer to McDonald's.
Yeah, it's like a flavoring, right? It's not orange juice.
Okay, I can ride with that because I hate orange juice.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I like orange juice. I'll mess with like a mimosa or a screwdriver on a weekend.
Just don't believe in diluting good alcohol. Seems kind of like a waste.
Keeps you refreshed though.
Yeah,
helps keep you hydrated.
How about my man? I hate to give him credit, but he does do food right.
Who?
So Johnny the Pig, and he's talking about my favorite Ravi place, Canara. Salty lime soda. What?
Fair, Ravi. Come on.
Well, dude, you just went separate but equal.
Fair.
I felt like I had to retaliate.
Yeah, you get a shot there. That's fine.
Salty lime soda. Salty lime soda.
I know some people like lime Coke or like that's a thing.
Salty lime soda.
And then in the South, they will put peanuts in their Coca-Cola. Have you ever seen that?
That's my mom.
And so I could get the salty thing a little bit. It's not for me.
If we didn't have like Coach Butler and Coach Dvorak and because he was fantastic on Husker Sports Night, and I was like, oh, speak of the devil, Rob Dvorak. We'll get to that. We would call my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. She would set the tone on a Friday.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No. She could tell you about our conversations about NIL. You'd laugh your head off.
Oh,
why?
My goodness.
She's incredible.
She's just like, what's her deal with NIL?
She just was trying to figure out.
Oh yeah, you were telling me.
The article threw her off.
Yeah.
From what she was already doing, and she wanted to know if it was in addition to or separate but equal. And so,
there are some times where that's true and not racist.
Yeah. Well, you tend to lean and we could talk with Tim about Coach Dvorak too, because I think he said a lot without. But he actually kind of just said a lot. He doesn't seem, and he's like this in person. He doesn't seem like he's 30.
No, not at all.
He seems much older than that.
He seems way more mature than I am, for sure. 100%. Which is not like a super high bar, but
100%.
I do have some.
Well, you only have like 7-8 years almost on it.
6, almost 7.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all good.
Oh,
couple old souls. He's not near as stubborn though.
Back in the day. Well, I don't know.
How about what he said? It was almost right on cue. Like he was listening to our shows yesterday about shavers. He said, I'm going to find a place for him to play. I'm going to make sure of that. That's on me.
I like our guy shavers.
Stud.
I like our guy shavers.
Yeah. And he doesn't.
I always want to call him Ernie, but
he doesn't gush much.
Yeah.
But between Bullock and
no one on the staff does.
The development of Wright.
Yeah.
Like I was like,
if you get those 3 guys right, no pun intended, like that could be a nice group.
Yeah.
That could be a really nice group.
A lot of runner hitters.
Coming up, we'll wrap up hour number 1, and we'll probably get into some actual sports here at some point. That's DBM Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Welcome back as we wrap up hour number 1 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here on the Pillar Exterior stage at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We've got some actual sports to talk about here, not just French fries, but that's okay.
It's National Friday.
We do like French fries.
You like French fries?
Well,
I mean, again,
the royal Wii. Most people
on Wii,
not like the Nintendo Wii.
different
Those
Wii,
a little old school.
like Inside Out on Wii. You ever seen Inside Out 2 yet?
No. Why would I?
But it's an adult cartoon, kind of.
I know, but like I don't really watch cartoons.
All right.
Like I don't watch animated. You know.
Yeah, we all have our flaws.
Yeah, we might not be able to be friends.
This dude's over here getting.
It's all right.
Movement from Gladiator 2, though. That was cool.
Gladiator 2 was pretty cool. That was cool.
No, I'm pumped.
That was a cool trailer.
Don't let me get it.
Don't act like you're not a Gladiator honk just like I am.
I may have watched it 13, 14 times.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Are you not entertained?
No, I like a good French fry. What do you want from me?
Nothing. It's good. Good.
I also like a good secondary coach.
Me too.
Which they might have.
Yeah.
Off
to a good start.
Yeah, you mentioned kind of the mechanics behind this. And I do wonder with some of the like recruiting, maybe how long this has been in process a little bit, because like I know for a fact. A few years ago, when Al Huss was had accepted the Illinois job, the Illinois assistant coaching job, before he had signed anything, before it was announced, he was on recruiting calls with Illinois recruits and Brad Underwood. I know that for a fact. And so I know this happens, is my point, where, hey, you've got kind of a verbal or a handshake, and then like you start working for the new school basically immediately, especially when in John Butler's situation, he's not working for anybody. So there's no conflict really there at all, right? And so I wonder, like, I'm curious about whether it's recruits or people in the building or whoever started knowing that he was involved.
Well, for instance,
yeah,
I'll give you one right in our very own backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Jones and I learned who the new linebackers coach was going to be before it was even remotely close to being announced. Because if I remember right, Dvorak may have been last.
He was one of the last, if he wasn't the last. Yeah.
Yeah. We learned that in the coach's office on 89th and Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember vividly texting Christian in class, do not say a word.
Yeah.
And in typical Christian Jones fashion, he said, "Ooh, I missed that part. What are you talking about?" Right? Remember when he called the other day and I asked him about Dawson Merritt?
Yeah.
And he said, who?
Yeah.
It was on speaker, right? So that wasn't made up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's just him. He operates right in here.
Yeah. It's right in front of him.
My man stays in it. He stays. He was like, who? No, that doesn't have anything. No, man, no. It's like
that doesn't have anything to do with me. Even when sometimes it does have a little bit to do with
so
him.
Like to your point, recruits sometimes do know.
Recruits sometimes know
because coaches
early.
have to tell them if you want to like.
Yeah. Like
hey,
if you're Rule or you're Tony White or you're whoever,
and a lot of times that's where the leaks come.
Especially when
that is totally where the leaks come.
Especially when it is, I think it's worse in football, right? Because position coaches are way more important to the recruiting process than, like, yes, I know the assistants in basketball are really important to the recruiting process, but it's not like, hey, I play this position, I'm directly tied to this guy for sure, right? Like you can have a little more malleability there. If you're a player in what?
Is it, if you're just malleable, you're malleable. Is malleability a word?
It may not be.
That's TK.
TK, is malleability a word? Or did I just make that up?
Guess where he's not asking Miriam.
No, I need like a real source though. I don't need like Urban Dictionary or anything. Like give me I think that's where
TK Strike is the type of dude that's messing around with Urban Dictionary.
I think that's where he found purpler, because I still don't think that's a word.
Wow.
But
it had to be purple, right?
That's the one that you made up. What do you want me to do?
It's not made up.
Allegedly.
But anyway.
Allegedly. What was I talking about? The
recruits and position coaches.
Yeah, like there's a direct tie there. And so it's really hard if you're a Coach White or Coach Rule being like, hey, yeah, we're still recruiting you. We don't know who your coach is going to be, or we don't know, like, or we know, but we can't tell you. Like that's a tough sell, right? You have to be able to, as soon as you get that information, you have to be able to go out there and say, hey, this is your guy. Here's his, like, he's going to be calling you. Even if it's not public, like if there is any sort of agreement that person's coming on staff, the recruits are the first people you tell, because they're the ones that are impacted the most, or that their decisions can be impacted the most, because the guys in the room are impacted directly, but especially at this point in the year, they're probably not making a different decision based on who comes into that room, right? Recruits can make a different decision. Like we just saw yesterday, another 4-star secondary player put Nebraska in their top 3 after talking to John Butler, right? And like that's a big deal that, okay, hey, we shored this up. This guy is vibing with the new guy. Like we're good here, right? We didn't lose any ground. Maybe we gained a little. We're all good. Like, so getting the information out to recruits is kind of I don't want to say necessary evil, but it's a risk you have to take in terms of the information getting out because they have to know.
Yeah, and the cool thing about, excuse me, the way that they recruit is, remember, it's kind of a group effort.
Mm-hmm.
If they, I won't say if they value enough, it's typically a group effort.
Yeah.
Right. Where and as Coach Rule explained to me, if they got to get past being committed just to one guy.
Yeah.
Like he goes, I just don't think we can function at a level of sustainability.
He doesn't even want that one guy to be him.
If that's what, if that's what it's about. He
Yeah.
said, I hire young guys. They're movers and shakers. They're going to be highly coveted. At least that's what I want as a head coach. It's my job to retain those guys. But I also know I'm not hiring anybody that nobody else wants.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about that for a second. I'm like, yeah, you do have more than a handful of guys that other teams would love to have.
And that will likely move on within the next
Coach
2 to
DeVore,
3 years.
They would love to. People would love to have Coach DeVore.
Coach White.
People would love to have Coach White.
Coach McGuire's not far behind.
People would love to have Coach Knighton, right? Like he's not hiring guys that nobody else is going to covet.
And I think, and
by the way,
Coach Barthel had some interest over the offseason.
Can we have a talk with Coach McGuire about his dad recruiting in Nebraska? Like, was that part of the?
I assumed he was helping him out.
What happened to the buddy brother-in-law deals where, like, Bo and Stoops didn't recruit?
I assumed.
Oh, wait, that was made up. No, that was the thing.
I assumed that they were helping him out.
So now Texas Tech is like just invading Nebraska?
I don't know about if invading.
Well, they got plenty of offers out.
They do. The way I took it, and I could be totally wrong here, is I assumed that like Garrett and the Nebraska staff had seen these guys. We know Coach Rule's very fond of.
You think if Nebraska can recruit Texas, then if Coach McGuire, Texas Tech can recruit Nebraska?
I thought
that's fair.
I kind of assumed it was like, hey, there's some guys up here that might be good fits for you. We don't necessarily think they're perfect fits for us. Like, you should check them out.
Yeah.
Like, that's almost like a referral system, like, hey, they're good kids. They're good players. Fit wise for whatever reason, maybe not for us, but like you should maybe look at these guys. Yeah, that's what I assumed it was.
Did it bug you when Deion expressed his affinity for Coach McGuire at Tech?
No, I don't know if we want to get into Deion again today.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How we doing?
I didn't really take anything he said in that section seriously.
Yeah, I probably won't be sitting through that. I wanted to send you the clip, a clip from the excerpt of Klatt, and I go, this is exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Oh, it was 5 minutes of the first three. I had no idea what he was really saying.
I feel like that a lot with Deion.
And then when he brought it back to the kids, it's all about the kids. Did I make the right decision? Did I not make the right decision? Well, did I make it out of emotion? Well, I don't make decisions out of emotion. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I'm just going to keep listening. And then he said something about what's most important to the kids, and Klatt was like, yeah.
His full of bleep meter is off the chart.
Stop.
It is.
No, but he did. But it does have to be weird for Klatt because Klatt clearly has an in as a former Buffalo. He is one of the media that Deion is extremely comfortable with. And remember when Klatt on a couple of those broadcasts, I think people feel was kind of a little over the top. But I like Klatt.
I do too. I think he does a good job, and I think I like the interviews that he does. I like
he was good to me early in Big Ten media days early. Like he would stop by. Now as he got bigger, like it's a lot less accessible, but good dude. Like
big timed you a little bit.
No, he was cool. Chopped it up with him in Minnesota.
Yeah. No, I don't have a problem with him. I don't know him personally at all, but I've never had an issue with him.
I know Gus Johnson was eating food on the floor in a sport coat and pants.
I mean, listen, you got to do what you got to do.
He's like sitting in the hallway like he got put out of class.
You got to get in where you fit in.
I was like, wow, this is kind of weird.
Maybe he doesn't like to eat in the booth.
Yeah, you want to smell like food?
Yeah, I don't know.
See if that I could vibe with that. That's something I would do.
I'm sure he had a reason for something, or maybe just like sitting on the floor.
Yeah,
bringing him back to his youthful days.
I know you're with our next guest. You're gonna want to get into Coach Butler, but just leave me a little time to talk about the Voracek too. Can you share?
You can do whatever you want, man.
Are you sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
Little volleyball, little pickleball back and forth.
Little badminton.
I know you're geek. You're sending me Coach Butler's stats. I was like, oh, this dude's all in.
I mean, they're pretty good stats. It's not bad. Coming up next, we got Tim Verghese. He covers Nebraska for Rivals and Inside Nebraska here on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We're joined now by Tim Verghese of Inside Nebraska. Tim, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Not too much. Got back from vacation yesterday.
Where were you at?
Went to India for a week.
Nice. What part?
Kerala.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, don't act like you know where that is.
I don't actually know where that is.
So don't let Ravi fool you, man. His delivery is so smooth sometimes it's like he's pulling the proverbial wool over our eyes.
Well, I know like a certain regions, like where my family's from, but that's not one I'm familiar with.
What's the travel time, Tim?
Ooh, it's a bit like 18 hours. So like the way there, I scheduled this in the most chaotic way possible. I took 4 flights to get there. And I took 3 flights to get back. And on the way back, one of my legs was 14 hours just straight in the plane, which wasn't ideal.
Yeah, it's brutal. You almost want to break it up into like 4 flights just so you're not in the air for 14 hours at a time.
Wow. Right, exactly.
Like we'd go New York, London, and then I don't think we went straight to India from London. I don't remember. I think there was another stop in there.
I have no idea.
We broke them up.
I can't do anything for 14 hours.
We broke them up into like 6-hour chunks.
Including think. So it's like you go away and all of a sudden there's all this news. How quickly did it take you to get caught up?
So obviously the time change made it weird. Like there was a couple things I was expecting to happen while I was gone. None of those things happened because of Cooper leaving. And so I woke up to that news like an hour after that happened. I woke up at 7 a.m. India time and was just pretty shocked as everybody else. I had a bunch of text messages, had a bunch of phone calls. So had a lot to catch up on there. But I was really surprised by just the turnaround on that because pretty much that night, India time, y'all's morning, obviously, it came out that, they already had a name in mind and that moved pretty quick.
Yeah, it was like, it was less than 18 hours from the time that we heard that Evan Cooper was going to be out and that John Butler was going to be the guy. I mean, at least in my mind, I go, okay, well, so this has been in the process for a while, I would assume. Like, is that where your mind went as well? Or are you just like, hey, they were just on top of it?
No, pretty much same thing. Like, again, that doesn't happen as fast as it does unless you have an idea of one or the other both happening, in a matter of time. I don't know exactly why the timing worked out the way it did, but it definitely feels like something that was been in the works for a bit.
When you're taking a look at kind of transitioning, and I think you were alluding to potential defensive backs committing and who was interested in Nebraska. If you're going to land on your feet, which seemingly, at least on the surface up to this point, Nebraska did, were you surprised at the smooth transition from the recruiting angle or seemingly smooth transition from the recruiting angle?
Somewhat. I figured the staff would pick up, various members of the staff would pick up. I was checking in with some of the commits and some of the pretty much once I landed yesterday, checking in with some of the commits and some of the targets yesterday to kind of see who's talking to who. Nebraska did a really good job with some of them. Obviously, they've got Aiden Manate is deciding today. Bryson Weber's deciding tomorrow. Nebraska did a really good job of just maintaining communication with both those guys. Aiden's a little easier just because multiple members of the staff were already working on him. That wasn't a Cooper-dominated recruitment. But Weber was a Cooper-dominated recruitment. Like, Cooper found him. Cooper was the whole reason why he visited in the first place. So the news hit him pretty hard, but the staff stayed on him. And then pretty much as soon as Butler became official yesterday, one of his first phone calls was Bryson Weber. So they've done a really good job making the guys that they want to be around, make them feel like a priority still, which is impressive. And as far as the commits go, it's kind of an every hand on deck. Some of the in-state commits were like, hey, Foley reached out to me. Some of the regional guys and obviously Jeremiah Jones and some of those guys had other members of the staff working on them. But with the amount of assistance you have and some new NCAA regulations and stuff like that, I think there was enough going on that these guys didn't feel like the communication dropped off really at all.
It's interesting. You talked about multiple guys in and not just a blank guy. I talked since on Monday when the news broke. and this was kind of in particular to like Coach Rule talking to me about some seniors and Caleb about the transition. Once the news broke, he said this is part of the reason why we have all hands on deck with recruiting when we want a guy, because it's bigger than just committing to a singular entity. We don't want to be in that transactional world. I felt like just hearing him say it and just kind of listening to how these things became pretty seamless in terms of having multiple guys in on a recruit, that it's impressive how he's not necessarily preparing for worst case scenario, but he does seem to have built-in contingencies on how and why he's doing business, right? Like you can see the plans unfold. Unfortunately, sometimes it's just when crisis happens.
For sure. You see kind of, yeah, like the best way to put it is that, like, I think the levels in the staff they've built out where, obviously behind the on-field assistant, there's the graduate assistant, some of the off-field assistants, that helps a ton. But just on top of that too, it's the way they involve multiple members of the staff in the recruiting process. And it's not even on-field coaches, it's Christian Coggin, it's Keith Williams. It's all these different people on the staff that are maintaining these relationships, or like guys feel comfortable on campus because they've got these specific relationships. On Corey Campbell, those type of guys, it's there's enough bodies around that have built genuine relationships that, again, like you said, Nebraska doesn't want to be a one relationship staff. I think you talk to most guys that commit and guys that get close to committing, it's about the staff as a whole. It's never about one individual person.
Yeah, I told a story to Ravi. My mom had some questions on NIL, and the articles had just come out about naming 1890, and she was already committed, and she wanted to know what she could do in addition to. So getting some information from Coach Rule, and he's like, hey, call Coach Fish. We moved him from this to this for 1890 because he has all the relationships with parents and recruits' family. So it seems like a natural fit in case they have questions. And I'm just thinking to myself, they just made the announcement the other day. There's still a lot of work in progress, but you're already prepared for something like this happening, playing to your staff strengths. Like we kind of, I don't know. We don't see it happen. It just happened to be luck of the draw for me because my mom had questions. But it's things like that behind the scenes that I think helps them be built to hit curveballs, right?
Right. And yeah, I mean, you're completely right there. Like that, I think says a lot about kind of the preparedness of the staff.
It was incredible. He called Tim from the time I had the question to where he directed me to the time the call was made was about 6 minutes. It was incredible, and he's in an airport.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like I'm. Listen, take it from me. Like every time I'm in an airport, I'm just like no one talk to me. I'm not in there. Like I'm not in that type of mode. I'm not trying to work in an airport. It's too much of a stressful environment. There's too much going on. No, that's really impressive. And you hear the staff talking. When we saw them in when we met with all these different members of the staff in late May and June, they talked about just how they have these plans of contingency. They've got people on staff that prepare Rule for every single situation, or have plans for every single situation. They've built out these scenarios in such a way that, like, hey, yeah, like Cooper leaves, we're good to go. Something happens with 1890, we're good to go. They're pretty good at responding and reacting here, and it comes a lot off of the preparation that they do.
Well, and Tim, so I've been thinking about this quite a bit, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, okay, it's got to be kind of exhausting trying to prepare yourself for all these worst case scenarios and crises and stuff like that. And then I thought about it a little bit more, and I go, okay, well, he's actually created his staff in a way where he expects people to move on. Now, he expects them to move on for positive reasons, right? They're young guys moving up in the coaching world, but it kind of has the side effect of always being prepared in case something like this happens where they aren't leaving for a better job or whatever. They're just leaving. And like, it's sort of this, I don't know if it's a happy coincidence, because I'm not sure that Coach Rule does much on accident, but it seems like a very positive consequence of the way he's decided to build his staffs.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say the one thing, which this happens with any one of these type of decisions where, you know, someone leaves and there's not a whole lot of clarity as to why. Obviously, there's not like a next step in place or any of that. The one thing here is just kind of it left a lot of people just confused, recruits alike, you know, and some of those guys were like, hey, I found out on Twitter just like everyone else. Like, obviously, after that, the staff reached out eventually down the line, but like there wasn't a heads up there versus, you know, when in the positive move, there's some clarity on just like, hey, just a heads up. You know, I got a promotion to like defensive coordinator. I got a promotion to go to the league or something. And I'm leaving. Like those are a lot easier to explain. This one, you know, there was a bit of just like that first couple of hours, there was that bit of a limbo. And then, you know, once the staff started reaching out to guys, news started trickling out about Butler, kind of things started to settle real quick. But there was, and it's kind of lucky that this happened in July when things are relatively kind of dead. You know, they didn't have to prepare for a recruiting weekend. They didn't really have to prepare for a camp or, you know, and as far as the decisions that they had to adjust for, those were limited. There's two DBs obviously deciding, but one had a date set for the 12th and the other one was willing to move it a little bit just to figure out what was happening at Nebraska.
Tim, when you talk to recruits and, you know, they've got some guys in the fold and obviously, you know, Christian Jones is a target that's still out there as a highly rated guy. What do you feel like the fan base is missing behind the scenes on the heels of Coach Dvorak being on Husker Sports Nightly last night? We get kind of a peek into what his philosophy is. He's, for all intents and purposes, appears to be a tremendous recruiter. What do you think the fan base is missing with a guy that has that quiet of a demeanor most times since he's been in Lincoln?
With him specifically, I think it's just the relational ability. You know, that's a guy that you know, I'm talking to guys. It's like that's a guy that you know, he's on. They're like he's on you, but he truly does care for you. That's something that echoes throughout the staff. Is like they'll not only do they really care for you, they're really going to be on you. They're going to hold you accountable. Like, I mean, Houston Keanu Torres was like, that's the reason I committed. Like, this staff's going to be on me. Like, I know they're going to make sure I'm on top of what I'm doing. But on top of that, I know I can trust them with any single situation. And that's not just a Dvorak thing. That's a whole staff thing. With Dvorak specifically, you know, and that's another one. Like, I had this exact same I was telling people this exact same thing back at when I was covering A&M. The linebackers coach at the time, it's slipping my memory right now. The name's missing, but linebackers coach at the time had missed on some top targets. This is the cycle of Harold Perkins and those guys. He'd missed on some guys that cycle. They had to take some contingency plans there. Then the next cycle, he missed on another. Oh, it was Anthony Hill the following cycle. A&M just missed out on both those guys. And people blamed the linebacker coach immediately. And I was like, no, this guy's done a really good job of building relationships. They just got outbid. Like, that just happens sometimes. But it sucks that it happened back-to-back cycles. But the reason A&M was even in those recruitments in the first place was because of that coach. And again, I apologize. The name's blanking on me. He is a Duke now. He's a defensive coordinator there, or on staff at Duke still. But he was a good coach, you know, and he's a guy that Mike Elko still trusts to this day, and I think eventually does find himself back in College Station. But A&M fans, you know, kind of acted like that guy was the reason for recruiting losses, when it's like, no, it's the opposite. He's the reason you were in that recruitment in the first place. And it's the same thing here with Dvorak. You know, it's some of these recruitments you've lost out on, or you're like, hey, why isn't Christian Jones committed yet? It's not because of anything Dvorak's done. Dvorak's done everything right here.
100%.
And same thing with Dawson Merritt, you know, like that was another one where like Dawson was like, I trust Dvorak, I trust the defensive staff a ton. It just ultimately came down to where he felt more at home at, and that had nothing to do with the coaching staff.
So, Tim, would you put kind of Donovan Raiola in that category too? Because I know people were wringing their hands a lot about some of the high-profile guys that Nebraska had gotten in on and then committed elsewhere. And obviously they've shored up some of the commitments on the offensive line room, but they haven't gotten that, you know, super high 4 or 5 star yet, like a lot of people were hoping. they would. But I look at it kind of the same way you just described. Like Nebraska being in on those guys and being in these conversations was like, oh, it's Nebraska or Alabama, and it's like, when's the last time those two schools were in the same sentence? And I felt like people were getting really concerned about the offensive line recruiting, and I was like, it's incredible that Nebraska's in these final groups for these guys.
Yeah, like that's the biggest thing. For me, I think like we need to reset expectations just a little bit in terms of recruitment. Like I know there's hype and excitement for what this team could be and what this team is building, but I've said this a couple of places at this point. But again, these results just aren't proven yet, and until they see results, like that's something that's going to be working against the staff, no matter how good of a job they do building some of these relationships. Like think about some of the guys they've missed on, those 3 from Bishop Gorman. They've missed out on like Jack Lange out in Missouri. They've missed out on some of those Broderick Sherrill down in Oklahoma. And I mean, listen, man, I was surprised as anybody when I saw David Sanders announce the top 4. Nebraska's in it. I thought if there was a top 5, Nebraska would be in it. But the fact that Nebraska's in there over Alabama and Clemson most.
I'm with you. That's the one that surprised me. I'm not sure what happened there, but I told Ravi I was more surprised Clemson was out than Nebraska was in.
Right, exactly. And that's just from what I've heard, that's just Dabo refusing to play the NIL game, which I don't know if this is the recruitment that finally gets him to change his tune on that. He's missed out on some other guys as a result of just not playing the game. But I mean, you have to at least play, you know what I mean? You have to set, like, even if you don't want to, like in a recruitment like this, like there's a floor on the amount of money that's being offered across the board. Like you have to at least meet that floor. And for a school like Clemson, where they've done a good job building the relationships, the reason they were in that recruitment as long as they were is because they played that game, was because they built those strong relationships. You could have been at that floor and he still would have considered you, but you refused to play the game. And, you know, now you're here where you invested years into this recruitment and now you're out. But on Nebraska's end there, like the fact Nebraska's still in this top 4, I think no one should like this is a win. Like this is a win in itself, being in this top 4 where, you know, and from everyone I've talked to, it's like, hey, if he may look to make some visits here at the end of July, and Nebraska gets a visit there at the end of July, they're a real player there. Like they're just not a seat at the table. Like they're a real player there.
Yeah. I'm giving you an air high five.
He's been talking about that for the last since the 4 came out. He goes, hey, if they get David Sanders back on July 27th,
like that's the key date.
Watch out, because
I'm right there with you, Tim.
All bets are off. Are there other guys you're looking at that July 27th spot that you're like, hey, this could be a really crucial weekend for those guys?
Looking ahead to 26, yes. I think that's going to be a big 26 weekend. I think it's going to be very telling where some guys choose to spend that last weekend of July. Like, for example, Michael Terry, I got word this week, Nebraska's pretty much on the out there.
What a weird.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I hate to interrupt, but I'm just curious. Is it because for him, he appears just the newness of the love or the attention? Because sometimes people get caught up in that. He seems to be all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much that. Like,
okay.
This is a kid that, again, for a kid that was raised in the social media era, raised, you know, in 2024, like didn't have a cell phone until he started college or started high school. Didn't really use social media until like last year. That's the reason his recruitment was as quiet as it is, because you watch his tape and you're like, this kid should have 30 plus offers, you know, like he shouldn't have 15. And like, I mean, I think I wrote about him at my previous stop, like this time in the fall, like this last fall, and I was like, he's only got like 6 offers. I don't know why that's the case. Like, I know real schools are interested, but he should have more offers than this. And then did some digging, and it's just like he's just really hard to reach. He's at a school that's very old school. Like, they don't even really allow like recruiting media on campus like that, outside of games. And so he just hasn't had the attention on him like that. And now that he's getting it, and you know, schools who have watched the tape now and have made him feel like a priority, he's had some real trouble kind of figuring out what he's looking for and what he wants, which is why you've seen this recruitment shift the way it has. But I mean, ultimately, like, you know, Texas has been there forever and they're still in that. Oregon kind of came into that picture in the spring, but they ascended really quick and they're in that too. Like, they're in there down the stretch. And so he's like planning to spend that last weekend, one day in Texas and one day in Oregon. I think a final decision is going to come after that. But that's where that recruitment is. I mean, and that one's a really tough break for Nebraska where they invested a lot of time in that.
Yeah, they rolled down there with the troops.
Yeah. They've invested a lot in that recruitment, and it's really tough to come out, where you're not even going to be probably a seat at the table at this point. But again, the way this thing has shifted, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if, like, he's one that I'll be like, hey, if Nebraska has a good start to the year, like, I'd see him turning around and being like, maybe Nebraska, like, maybe they just weren't in relationships, like maybe there's some substance there.
Tim, I wanted to get back to some other guys that you think might be showing up or guys to be of note of on that 27th weekend. You mentioned some might be a big weekend for the 2026 guys.
Yeah, two in particular I already know are coming. Brandon Arrington out of Mount San Miguel out in California. He is the California state champion in the 100 and 200 meter. And you just watch the tape, and he's a freak athlete. And that's a guy that can play a couple different positions, would immediately be as talented as some of Nebraska's potential returners are on campus. He'd immediately be the best returner on the team. He could play wide receiver. He could play some DB. Nebraska likes him at DB. Tony White's kind of handled this recruitment from the jump because of his relationships out there in California, specifically that area of California. This has been Tony White all the way through. I reached out to Arrington back in June, kind of talked to him a little bit, just kind of where his recruitment was. And at the time, he was just like, the fact that Tony White's invested as much as he has in me as early as he has says a lot. Tony White's visited him. He's a 26, so understand he's just starting his junior year.
Mm-hmm.
Tony White's visited him twice already. Like, he's already stopped by that program twice, which kind of tells you how much Tony likes him and how much this staff, thinks Arrington would be a difference maker. But this is a recruitment that's going to have the who's in it. But again, like, he's going, I think, Ohio State and Alabama, and then Nebraska squeezed in there too. That's not an easy travel. It's not like he's driving through and like, hey, I'll stop in Nebraska. Like, he's taking the time to stop through Lincoln.
I should probably know this, but when I hear Arrington and I hear Cal, I think Berkeley, as in JJ Arrington. Any relation there?
I don't believe
JJ's
so.
only about 42, so it's possible.
Yeah, could be.
Right? It's possible.
It's possible, but I don't think so. Not here. No, this is one that's kind of just it's there. I don't think there's any family ties there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, Tim, I appreciate you joining us. Hopefully you're not too jet lagged from that trip over to the homeland for both of us, but that's all right. We'll talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Talk soon.
Okay, appreciate it, Tim.
That's Tim Verghese, Inside Nebraska, part of the Rivals Network. Great stuff from Tim, as always.
He's thorough. I bet forget it was on vacation.
I mean, not just on vacation, but like off continent.
What are the odds, man?
What?
Are you feeling the connection?
Yeah, it's my guy. We're boys now.
Although you probably wouldn't eat together.
I mean, listen, I don't dislike Indian food. I just don't crave it that often. Not hitting up Canara all the time like apparently you think I am. Although
that was Johnny. That wasn't
those
me.
masala fries are fire.
We will be back. 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 You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio here on AM 590.
There are some records.
A record?
Well, we tied one yesterday.
Like an album?
No.
What record we tie yesterday?
We're
on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities.
Wow, very nice. It's like when you have to do endorsements and you have to read that little part at the end.
Yeah.
It's
like on the gambling endorsements where you're just like.
I just used to record those normal.
Void were prohibited and have them speed them up.
Yeah. I ain't getting all this in. There was 6 shutouts yesterday.
Yeah.
In Major League Baseball.
Yes.
Which tied a low. Nobody can So they must have given all the old Major League Baseballs
back
to college. And nobody can hit.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of nobody
or in score, man.
Being able to get hits.
So it was 6 shutouts. Tied a record.
Can we talk about Paul Skeens for a second here?
Yeah, he's sick.
He is sick.
But I'm not mad at the Pirates, though. I mean, that was some good day baseball for me. I was like.
I get it. I do. But also, I have a really hard time when you have an opportunity to do something historic.
That's the second time they've done that to him.
I know. And then they just take it away from you.
Yeah.
Like I really struggle with that because let's be real here, okay? in most, like, I have a great example of this. The Red Sox in, I think it was 2009, had a guy. He wasn't Paul Skeens, but he was a highly touted prospect, one of the best prospects in baseball.
Wait, reset that?
The Red Sox back in like 08, 09.
I thought you were thinking Yankees. I was like, Brian Taylor?
No.
The guy got slammed in a bar, hurt his shoulder.
Yeah, and could never play again.
Ruined his career.
But I'm talking about a similar situation to what we saw last night or yesterday with Paul Skeens.
Certainly not Bronson or Roy.
No, it was Clay Buchholz.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Super highly touted prospect. Yep. He wasn't Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens is viewed differently than most prospects we've ever seen, but he was one of the top prospects in baseball. He came up, and I believe it was his second career start, had an opportunity to throw a no-hitter. The Red Sox had nothing on the line at this point. They were out of playoff contention, so it might have been 08 rather than 09, but I don't remember exactly. But either way, they were out of playoff contention. The game was meaningless, but he had an opportunity to do something historic, and they let him do it. And Clay Buchholz ended up having a nice career, but that's probably one of the highlights of his career.
Skeens may have. I hate to assume in anything.
I know, because it's the same thing with Strasburg, right?
But I'm thinking
we thought the same thing about Steven Strasburg.
Yeah.
We assumed when we're pulling him early and we're holding him out of playoff runs and we're doing all this, right? We assumed, because Strasburg they did talk about like Skeens. That's probably the closest one we've had recently.
Yeah. And he had some.
He had some great
startling
years.
Numbers.
He had some great years.
Yeah.
But if he had. I don't remember specifically a no-hitter where he got pulled from, but like, let's use the playoff run.
Playoffs?
If they hadn't pulled from that playoff run, that was one of the best teams in baseball that year. You know, like that very well could have been one of the highlights of his career.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we get a little too galaxy brained with these things.
Galaxy brain.
And let's be honest. I understand protecting arms. Throwing 120 pitches one time instead of 110 one time is not going to be the difference between Paul Skeens needing Tommy John or not. Now, if you abuse him all the time, yes.
No, I get it.
If he's going out there, he's throwing 120, 130, 140 pitches every time he's out there, and doesn't have the Nolan Ryan rubber arm, like, yes, that's going to be a problem. But a one-off like this, where he has a chance to do something that he may not, like, Pedro Martinez is one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Never threw a no-hitter.
And he's had at least one or two no decisions where he's left.
And then they blew a lead.
With the lead or tied.
Yes. Like.
Because he's only 6. I say only. He's only 6-0.
Let him go get it. That's all. Like, just let him go get it.
I don't know. I guess.
Just let him go get it.
I could see it.
One time is not going to cause him to have Tommy John. It's not.
Isn't this a crazy year, though?
What do you mean?
I mean, just offensively.
Yeah.
The Dodgers Twitter account tweeted out what Ohtani was on pace for. Because it seems like Ohtani hits a home run every day, right?
It does seem that way, yes.
Do you know what he's on pace for currently at the end of the season for total number of home runs?
What?
48.
It's not crazy.
It's not.
It's a good number. It's not a crazy number.
I'm like...
What's Judge on pace for? Like 50-some? It's got to be in the 50s because he was at, well, I don't know if he's hitting in the last couple of days, but he was at 32 through like 86 games, something like that.
I'm like, you only have 10 guys hitting over 300.
Yeah, that's a bad number.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's bad.
Like, I just had to take a double take. It's like Stephen Kwan's leading Major League Baseball in hitting.
Yeah.
Nothing against Kwan.
No, but he's,
but it's just, it's such a strange year.
It's like Bill Miller leading the league at like 314 one year.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of
a nice pull.
It's a Red Sox guy,
Wow, nice pull. But so I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, but we did. Yeah. So you brought up record.
Yeah.
6 shutouts.
How
about the gym?
Let Paul Skeens go get it. That's all I'm saying.
D-backs and Braves 1-0.
That was
a heck of a.
That was a heck of a Pirates game too, wasn't it? 1-0.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just let him go get it. One time, just let him go get it.
One time. Just one good time.
One time, just one time.
No, I'm with you. I don't
Like, just let him try and go get one.
Yeah.
Because especially like, okay, so let's say it plays out the same way, right?
What was that? See, that's that Feds knock. Did you hear that? At least what they do on television.
Anybody home?
Shane, I think that was way back
Yeah,
at this back door.
Yeah.
Only person I've ever seen use that door is.
I wouldn't worry about it. That's a restaurant deal. That's not our deal.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
You letting Shane off the hook?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not just opening doors for people trying to do a radio show here.
Shane swelled up like Isaac Gifford over there. You see how he just kind of
puffing up. He's ready to
barreled
go.
up his chest.
He's ready to go. He's ready to stand on business. Just
speaking of which, least surprising news ever: Gift going to Indy.
No, yeah, I mean that's.
Wait till you. Well, I'll bring that guy over because we have a really good relationship.
Yeah.
He's exactly like you think he is.
I mean, it was definitely going to be Giff.
That wasn't.
It was definitely going to be either Ty or Nash.
I'm kind of. I was a little surprised at Ty.
I thought it was going to be Nash, but it was going to be one of those two guys.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, and then it was. I figured an offensive lineman again. I didn't know that it was going to be Ben Scott.
Yeah, tough guy.
Yeah,
like a legit.
I thought they might go Ben Hart.
Yeah, he's engaged.
Bryce or Ben?
Ben.
Okay.
Good on Ben.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not that he's old, but he's like 24, right?
Yeah, for
a college guy, like he's a little bit older, you know.
Yeah.
Not that it stops a lot of us from getting engaged younger than that in college.
So I mean, it will be. You're not going to get very many. There will be no crazy sound bites.
Yeah, no, it's gonna.
I mean, that will
sound
be
a lot like Coach Rule.
Yep, that will be about as buttoned up and tight as could be. I mean, they got three.
Your best sound bites are going to come from Coach Rule.
You got three pretty much no nonsense guys,
like buttoned up, all about business.
Yeah.
That no, I mean it's that's the group that makes sense to represent Nebraska. Whether it was Ben Scott or Bryce Benhart or like one of those offensive linemen.
Yeah, you had a lot of guys with experience too, so you kind of wondered.
Yeah.
I just want to see. I want to watch Gifford get his suit tailored.
Yeah.
Well, he has that
Taylor
unbelievably strange frame. Like it's weird not to get into.
No, I'm trying to picture it outside of pads.
It's very got the huge trunk.
Yeah,
and he's like yoked. Like he's bigger than you've ever seen him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I saw. So I was.
Yeah,
Full disclosure, I saw a video of him.
He looks fantastic
recently because. Little teaser, we were doing some stuff for Hail Varsity Yearbook that might be coming out. We'll have some news about that. But so I'm watching some of the video of the interviews we did with him, and like he looked big.
Yeah,
like he looked big.
And he's kind of
Nash looked lean.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
300-pound lean, but
I'm excited for him.
For Nash?
Yeah.
I am too.
Because I think so the cool thing about Nash, I'm glad you brought him up, is he knows what being close to the benchmark feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So now he can train accordingly.
Yeah.
Like I liken it to when Stu said, if you don't want to feel like this again, train and sit.
Yeah, make sure you don't.
Yeah.
Go make sure you don't.
Like he's got a clear benchmark in which he's going to get.
Because he's the guy that I kept saying, man, he's like a half step away from making a ton more plays.
Yeah, I am excited.
And that 20 pounds might make that half step. We will be back to wrap up hour number 2 next on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back.
In summer, even during heat waves and power outages. It's smaller than a lunchbox, cools any room within 3 minutes.
Let's talk about some of your guys, and we got to start with John Bullock. Johnny B, he's now the leader in that room, and no Nick Henrich, no Luke Reimer, but both those guys really raved about John Bullock and that he seemed ready to step into that role. What's been your perspective of him and being the leader of your room?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun with John because, you know, when we got here, he was playing safety, DB, and we moved him to the linebacker room.
We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla, and we're brought to you by the Team Jack Foundation. Get to teamjackfoundation.org to find everything you need to know about getting involved with this great organization. They're trying to find better treatments for childhood brain cancer and one day a cure. The current treatments are almost 50 years old and can be highly toxic to the children, often leading to lifelong issues, even if they are able to beat the cancer. So get involved. You can volunteer, you can donate directly on the page there, and you can see what events are coming up, as well as the projects that they're working on and helping to fund in order to reach this goal. That's teamjackfoundation.org. Wanted to get to some numbers I sent you last night, DB, because I think we talked about this a little bit on Monday. I think there's an argument to be made that on field specifically, Nebraska might be better off with John Butler. I think there's an argument to be made. Now, there's a bunch of other stuff that Coop did that we have to wait and see, right? We don't know where Butler hasn't been in the college game for a long time. So he's been in the NFL for 10 years. So with the recruiting and the talent evals and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure he's good at the talent evals in the pros. It's a different thing looking at high school kids coming into college, right? Totally different deal. But here's some numbers.
Although it's not totally foreign to him.
No, right. He's got college experience. It's just been a minute, right? Yeah. So here are some of the numbers from him at Buffalo. Since 2018, so this is not a small sample size. This is 5 years. Passing yards per game, first. Passing yards per attempt, first. Passing touchdowns allowed, first. Opponent passer rating, first. Average depth of target, first. Passing first downs allowed, first. Now, this is where it really drops off the cliff. Completion percentage allowed, second.
Drops off a cliff. Huh?
Those are the numbers for a 5-year sample size. So you're talking about a lot of different guys in those rooms. You're talking about different circumstances with the offense. You're talking about different circumstances with the rest of the defense. That's, literally as good as you can ask for.
Yeah.
So on the field, you can make a, I think, very legitimate argument. And again, not to say that Coop wasn't good at his job, right? Both things can be true. We could have been very happy with Coop and also understand that on-field coaching may have gotten an upgrade.
Now, but I do want to say, in 2023, Buffalo was top 5 in sacks.
Yeah.
2.5 a game. In 2022, if you want perspective of pass rush, as it equates to
coverage.
Now, these are just sacks. It's not necessarily pressures. Mm-hmm. Buffalo was 13th in 2021. A little bit of a drop, not a drop off. Buffalo was 12th. I'm not going to count. You want me to count 2020?
Sure.
They played.
They were in my numbers.
Yeah, they played. Buffalo was all the way down at 15, which is top half of the league. 2019, they had to make some serious progress here. I had it written down, so now I got to go back to Google. They went back to 6.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2018, which was his first year,
mm-hmm.
This might be the most telling if I remember right. Yeah, they were 25th.
Yeah.
So
25th, 6th, 15th, 13th, 12th,
6th,
and 6th.
Yeah.
Right? So a couple really good years in there. 12 through 15 is basically middle of the pack in the league, right? It's the middle 10% of the league.
Roughly 2.4 sacks. So,
yeah.
Again, not necessarily all pressures.
Right.
It's getting quarterbacks to the ground, but it's not like
this
onslaught. There's a reason that they wanted to bring in Von Miller when they did.
Yes. And then 2018, they were bottom third of the league in his first year where they were still pretty good against the pass. So there's also I think we always talk about how pressure leads to good coverage. We don't always talk about the reverse, which can also be true, where good coverage allows you to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, and what I don't know early on is, I do live with somebody that was spending the last 2 months working on certain techniques, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's catch or bail or trail or these different defensive back techniques that are different than, let's say, backpedaling.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys don't teach the back pedal as much anymore. So from the particulars, I'll be curious
to see if there's any technique changes.
Yeah, because philosophically, it has to match what your front is doing.
Yes.
Right. So, if I'm going to play,
if you've got a super impactful front where they get to the quarterback really quickly, you're really going to want to sit on short routes. You're going to want to make sure that nothing within the first 10 yards.
What are we driving on?
You're going to be super physical.
What are we tackling on?
Yes.
What are we? So
you're not giving as much of a cushion because the quarterback's going to be getting the ball out quick. Where on the other side, if you've got a pass rush that maybe takes a minute, doesn't always get there, you're going to maybe give them some of the shorter stuff to not allow yourself to get beat all in one chunk. You'll be like, hey, we're going to make you string together 8, 10, 12, 5-yard plays in a row in order to beat us, rather than, hey, we played super aggressive and you beat us over the top on one play.
Yeah, so that will be.
So that matters, right?
100%.
And it's going to matter because, we don't know.
Those are things that Tony White and he talk about during the interviewing process.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure to a certain extent, Terrence Knighton in that discussion as well.
And what's funny you say that? That's one of the beauties of T-Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you the first coaches clinic I went to with those guys, for him to know secondary coverages and what the back end was doing,
that's impressive.
I was like, coach. He's like a unicorn. Because that's something different than run fitting.
100%. Yes.
Right. But even when those guys do run fits from the back end, that's still pretty good.
Yeah. That one makes a little bit more sense intuitively of like, hey, if we do this.
Still, I still wouldn't call it like
common,
normal.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's totally fair. But, and that'll be really interesting to see because I don't, we talk about Nebraska's pass rush a little bit. And you look at it and you go, okay, they've got some guys I like. They've got some guys I think are capable of rushing the passer. I think we're interested to see, like, what's James Williams' role? He seems to have a knack for rushing the passer. What's his role on this year's team?
And because he didn't practice in the spring, we forget about the guy with arguably the highest ceiling. That's Umam Miguel.
I was going to say Princewell is the very next guy I was going to say. Yeah. Princewell, we saw flashes of last year. I think physically he's got a lot of the things you would want out of a high-end edge rusher. Obviously, I love Cam Lenhard. And then I think you could get pressure from the inside. We were talking about Nash, right? And losing that weight. There were a lot of times Nash was getting pressure and couldn't quite close that last gap to turn pressure into a sack or pressure into a hit. And I think you're going to get that this year. I really do. Between his leaning down a little bit from wrestling and kind of staying at a lower number. And I think I do think wrestling is good for pass rushers. The leverages, kind of being able to get angular with your body.
The thing that I like is feeling pressure.
Sure. Yeah. Like have feeling pressure on your body and being able to adjust someone else's body based on that.
Keeping guys away from your chest is a very hidden talent, right? The difference between punch pulling it and grabbing and shucking and shedding. Like sometimes you just need a punch. Sometimes you don't need to grab. It's a feel thing.
Right.
Right. We teach a couple of different drills. Some are punch pull. Some I actually want you to just punch and then pull. Some I want you to get your hands on them and then disengage. It just depends on, am I an edge setter? Am I fitting? Do I need to get loose to make a play? Am I making this for someone else? Is it just a true pass rush move? Like some of those things, those little nuances matter, and a lot of it comes from wrestling.
Yeah.
It can come from wrestling.
Yeah, you can learn it from wrestling. Yeah. It translates from wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to learn it there. But
how do I keep this guy away from my body?
Yeah.
How do I not let him get into my base?
How do you not let him get into the places he wants to get? Right?
I mean, it's
because it's very similar. I mean, the techniques can be a little bit different, but it's a very similar goal with offensive lineman, defensive lineman versus a wrestling match, right? Like the offensive lineman's trying to get you into a certain position that you don't want to be in.
And it's the proverbial, this probably comes out about 14 times a practice. Fight pressure with pressure. Fight towards where it's coming from. The natural inclination is to get away from it.
Yeah, to avoid.
Yeah.
Right? But instead you got to attack.
Right. If I feel pressure on my inside, don't go get around. Fight against it. He's pushing me from the inside. I need to fight back inside. There's a reason he's coming from that direction.
Yeah.
Right. Just simple. And in wrestling, it's just innate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You're not gonna go where a guy's trying to take you.
Well, and I think you just get a number of, I think it's just a reps thing, right? In wrestling, you just get so many reps doing that specific thing.
I'm excited.
So I'm excited for Nash. But I do think there are some, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like in terms of pressure for Nebraska this year, right? They got 32 sacks last year, but as you've brought up in the past, like 10 of them were in the Colorado game. And that's with a guy that famously holds the ball an incredibly long time and with a bad offensive line.
You're gonna have to get guys to the ground and at least dirty up those pockets.
So you're talking 2 sacks a game in your other 11. Can you make it one more? Can you get one more a game?
That's the thing.
Because that's going to be the difference, right? If you can get one more a game.
You talk about little numbers adding up.
One more a game.
Yeah.
I mean, we still haven't gotten to it. I keep putting it on the rundown. This margin of error thing it's a real deal.
Especially for a team that plays a lot of one-score games.
Coming up next, we've got Mike Sautter of Hurrdat Sports and NEB Preps will join us live here on the Pillar Exterior stage.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Mike Sautter.
Yeah.
Mike Sautter.
Oh, man, you're going to put me on the spot.
Mike Sautter.
Kicking off hour number 3 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR in Lincoln. Come on.
Nope, we got it.
Come on.
He got
Mine was. It ain't me.
Why are we?
It's
not. It's definitely not me.
It's not me.
I work here.
Who's echoing, Shane? What's happening here?
I was off, man.
I don't know.
It might have been Sautter.
I did it on purpose.
I saw you go for the
I
button. I don't know.
Yeah, because I thought it wasn't, but it was already off.
I don't know.
I promise. Because when I was getting ready, I was sitting over here and I made sure I pushed like the mute.
You were all in on Alcaraz.
He was killing that guy.
He
Whoever the
was.
other guy is.
That's Daniil Medvedev.
Whatever.
He's the 5th ranked player in the world.
Sure.
Yeah,
Only two eyes.
A lot of guys with a lot of vowels.
Only two eyes
in his name.
A lot of vowing over there.
It looks like multiple eyes.
It's 2 eyes in a row.
I understand.
Daniil.
Oh, his last name has about 4 E's though.
Wheel of
And a V.
Fortune.
Med.
I think
it's just
when
3.
I wanted to go on there, I didn't want to be.
I think just 3.
I didn't want those words with a lot of vowels because I don't want to be wasting my money on buying vowels.
On Wheel of Fortune?
Yes.
I wonder what that's going to look like, by the way.
Without Pat?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, he had like the greatest gig of all time.
Yeah.
Seriously, he worked like a month a year. They film all of those in like a month or two. It's not very long.
Yeah, no, it's a couple months.
It's like he basically works summers and has the rest of the time off.
And he works like, a 30-minute show, he's working probably 2 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So they
but by the end, he was, it's pretty. After about, 100 shows, you feel pretty good.
Yeah, pretty comfortable. You got a nice sweet spot there. You didn't understand what's happening.
He was ridiculously funny.
Oh, I've heard him on radio shows and stuff because like Lebitard used to have him on for some reason. They just liked him. And he's a funny dude. Like he's genuinely,
you could tell,
like pretty cool and whatever, but he had the best gig in the world. Like I would have rode that thing forever, which he kind of did.
Vanna White has the best gig.
That's true. She doesn't have to turn the letters anymore. She just,
although
you have to know where it is though.
Yes.
No, although I would say this, and maybe good docs, good genes, not as good as good docs.
Yeah.
I don't know how long I would want to have to look a certain way.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get that.
That's kind of like an underappreciated
especially for
aspect
her,
of that.
right? Pat can kind of look like whatever he wants. But like it was, but
even he can't
look terrible, but like you got to be presentable on TV.
So
but
that would be a downside
for sure,
especially for that long.
He was doing it for like 40 years.
But when you make that much money, there's plenty of cheap ways.
He's making like good 7 figures for working 2-3 months a year.
Hey, can you shave this off of me? Hey, fix this. No, I'm serious.
Yeah, no, you just be like, hey,
I've looked this good for 44 years of my life, so.
He used to have hair.
Easy, I guess.
Have you seen pictures of him with hair?
Yeah, Well, you got to remember, I've known him longer than anybody.
It's disorienting
in the media.
When did you start shaving the head?
I don't know, 2007.
Did you know him before he started shaving his head?
Yeah, I'd known him since 12, maybe 13, 12.
Yeah.
It's disorienting to see pictures because you sent us a picture with from college where you
got my wedding
got the real
picture.
hair.
I didn't tell you the story. My old partner didn't want him on air.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. They're like, he's too slow.
Hey, when
it wasn't just him either. It was like, well, are we just conversating?
There's my wedding picture.
I'm like, ultimately, good radio is going to be like.
I think you look better now.
We're just sitting in my living room talking.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? And he's a conversationalist.
Yeah,
I think that's a compliment. Is like to look better when you
listen. I'm well, So
I still have those Oreo 5s, by the way.
No, but the one that you, the one that you sent to the group chat was like in college, and he like had hair.
Hey, when is the quarter zip? Is it 3/4 or quarter?
Quarter zip.
Where's the
3/4 zip?
What year is the black and gray quarter zips I have?
A while ago, 16.
It's been a minute.
Yeah,
we probably met in like 17.
Yeah,
pretty close. 16, 17, somewhere in there.
Yeah. That photo was from 2015.
How are you enjoying your sit downs? I think Flan is amazing.
Flan is
I love Flan. Flan's the best.
He's really good.
Good dude.
And I prepped obviously for it, but the answer that he gave, because I asked him, it's been 20 years, man, and you still seem kind of like you're kind of hip, right? Still, he's got some swag to him. And he's just basically, he said, I rely on my assistants to help me.
He doesn't get enough credit for how visible he is.
He is.
Yeah.
He's always around.
He's always promoting the program.
Is extremely visible.
He was one of the dudes.
Done a great
and he's approachable.
Yes, and he's always good to talk to. Like he's always a good interview. He's always good to talk to. He was one of my favorite guys in our past life to talk to.
And he's much like yourself. Like once he went all the way clean, he looks much younger than he is. I mean, Flan's an OG.
Wow, you just gave me a compliment.
Flan's he's an OG.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's been at Creighton for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
2 years.
And I don't know. I'm trying to think how long ago this would have been now. But like he can ball still.
No, I know.
He used to come up to Grace all the
he
time.
can shoot it.
He's very fit.
Yeah. He would come up to Grace all the time and play pickup ball with Dean Thompson. Is that his name?
Well, there's Dean and Tommy.
Yeah. I don't know if Tom is, but it was like Dean ran a crew up there.
That sounds like Dean. Dean was like old school Idleman telemarketing league legend.
Yeah. No, and he played in Isaacson's league too.
And Tommy who's younger, will tell you that he was the real bucket getter.
Dude, I don't know. Dean was a bucket, man. He was playing college dudes when he was like 50 and like giving them buckets.
If Tom would have worked at it like Dean, he would have been
that's fair.
Unreal.
So you're calling Tom lazy.
No, he's just more he'll tell you. He just was more of a natural.
Yeah.
Dean had to work at it a little bit more. And Dean's much more competitive.
Dude, Dean was a bucket.
By the way, that guy lives off the grid.
Does he?
Oh, really?
I mean, like getting your own water type.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
We used to bring him in, like he would always have a crew. We would always bring them in to scrimmage us.
Yeah,
these guys in like their 40s and 50s because like you had to defend
there's never a shot he didn't like or he thought he could make.
But they were so disciplined.
Yeah.
That if you didn't defend them well, no matter how much more athletic you were, they were going to dice you.
Yeah.
So we loved bringing them in for scrimmages and stuff like that. Yeah, because they're just grown men, right? And I think the youngest guy on that team was like 30 something, right? And so we would bring them in, and they would just beat especially the first time. We'd bring them in the first time, they would beat the daylights out of us because they made every shot, and the guys did not understand how disciplined you had to be.
Yeah.
And they would kind of see these old dudes run up, and they'd be like, okay, whatever. And then they would get their heads.
My man would wear like a white tank top, but not the fitted ones.
Yeah.
Look like
the long ones.
like Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gosh,
and people would look at him and he was like, yeah.
He's rocking that white man can't jump
movie.
Low key kind of springy, but not springy.
Yep.
He could shoot.
Dude, the first couple years I was watching Summer League, they still won. And he was in late 40s, early 50s.
So I'm going all the way back to when we used to play in Creighton's old gym.
Yeah, I didn't go
upstairs
there.
in like the brick building.
Yeah.
Where they would hold their camps.
It's still a gym. I asked someone about it the other day, and I think that gym is still.
I think it's still up there. Yeah.
Still, like there's a court still in there.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody uses it, but
yeah,
I think it's still there.
I was like always scared to go up there. I'm like, is this thing gonna stand?
to walk.
You're like going on back stairwells.
Back stairwell,
brick building.
Yeah, the back stairwell is real tight.
Yeah.
Over there. Yeah, I wish they still had the summer league like that. That was fun.
I loved that. That was one of my favorites.
Me too. I loved it the one year that I was the general manager of Team Nebraska HS Hoops.
That was
fun.
Who was hooping with you?
Jacob and I put together. I put together a team. Jacob and I put together a team, I guess. And we had Taz.
I much more trust Jacob as a general manager.
I was like the owner. I was Mark Cuban. I was standing on the sideline yelling at refs. And
wearing a jersey and freaking out at people.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. No, we had so I had mainly Nebraska guys.
Paying a guy that won't get in shape, max money.
Yeah, I had Justin Patton, Kyrie Thomas, Matthew Winget was on that team.
Oh yeah. I remember that team.
And then we had to have a couple UNO guys. So Alex Phillips was on that team.
Mm-hmm.
He's a dog, so like needed some toughness there.
Derek White of Olympic basketball.
Yeah. Who else was on that team?
My name is Jalen Brown. I'm mad.
We were good. We made it to the semis though, and we lost because we only had that night. That was when they did the semis and the finals, like the same night.
Yeah.
We lost because we only had 6 guys that night. Just guys couldn't make it or whatever. So.
Oh yeah, you must have been the GM because Jacob wouldn't have let that happen. He'd have made sure he had a 7-man rotation.
Man. I was mad. I was mad because we were the 1 seed. We beat everybody going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. All them old dudes.
People forget in stretches in an environment like that, Patton could be unguardable.
So that's
really good.
That's the first. I think that
he
team
could be he was very good in those up and down open gym settings.
Yeah.
I think that was the team where you go, because I knew he was good. I think he was coming off his redshirt year.
Right. Yeah.
And you're like, that guy's gonna be a lottery pick.
And I told Isaacson, I said, hey, if we're doing like if I'm doing a team, I want, so then let me pick the couple Creighton guys and a couple Omaha guys.
Because you can only have 2 Creighton guys per team was the rule.
Yeah. So I got Taz and Justin. They were
pretty good.
They're 2 best
Pretty
players.
good. It's not bad.
And then I had, other just kind of mixed it in with the rest. It was good. It was fun. And that was great because it gave me it gave me an outlet. Like I had a rooting interest.
Yeah.
Like I watch a lot of basketball and I don't really care who wins ever. So yeah.
That was my 2 years.
That is funny.
Like
I think it was
funny.
I could care less. Like I covered every Nebraska game this year, and like if they lost, that didn't affect me, right?
Yeah, it doesn't affect your mood or whatever. It's just you're doing the job, right?
Which is funny because I try to tell people that about like basketball and football. I'm like, you guys, sure, he has people that he likes more than others, like friends,
right?
Well, he couldn't care less
I
about
don't
the school.
care.
Like if it's not about the kid, you're not.
You talking about high school?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, and what I want to say, but it doesn't sound right. I'm like, he's not that cool. Like, but do you know what I mean? Like, you're not emotional. You're not emotionally invested in anyone.
No.
The only thing, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're just kind of selfish by nature.
I'm emotionally invested in the players and relationships
And the product. He doesn't like. That's not.
I don't care who wins. I never care.
I'm like, you guys think he likes me that much? It depends on the day. He may or may not. Like, dude is not.
You guys lost to Gretna. I was like, all right, where's Zane? Go talk to that guy. Talk to my guy Zane. Talk to him.
He was cramming Corverdema down my throat for like 3 hours after the L, and I was like,
"Yeah,
do you not?"
Hey Shane, you want to let our guy in?
Do you?
That's SkyMax, I think.
Do you guys not understand that I watched him get to the passer every 3 plays?
He's so
I'm
good.
well aware Dim is a good player.
He was good. He was really good back then.
It's like, what is going on?
Yeah, that Gretna team was way good. Wow.
Yeah, that was the excellence of execution.
Yeah.
You know what I liked about
Best
that
true
team?
quarterback ever.
You know what I liked about that
Zane?
team? They have Ravi's favorite line.
Which one?
Answering in a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the moment was, that team met.
Remember that semifinal night that year? They played prep that year, and it was so cold. It was bitterly cold. Cold enough where prep couldn't get a snap. Like Gretna just beat them up. Like they were tough. Coach Kell did a great job there. He was great. I thought it was great.
Well, it's just that's a thing that I think sometimes we certainly miss it at the pro level. We kind of appreciate it at the collegiate level. We don't think about it at all at the high school level. It's just being who you are, who people think you are,
right,
when it matters most.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've just seen teams late in the season, semis, quarter. Like, we like to use the word choke because it's easy, but it's hard.
They lose themselves.
Right. It's hard in the moment to just answer the dinner bell. But
And
when that thing rings,
I don't know if I can say that, so I'm gonna try and change words. When
well, 3 weeks in a row, Vrzal said a word on this show you absolutely cannot say. So
I was gonna say cutting peanuts, but not that part.
I said nut cutting. I've said that before.
When it comes,
That's fine.
When it's nut cutting time, like you have to have something to fall back on. That's why I like talking about culture and different things so much, is because that's who you are as a team. Like if it gets a little tight or tense and you're always yelling or fighting with each other and whatever, well, what's going to happen in a tough time or situation like that? You're gonna start to crack because you're gonna just the pressure is gonna be.
You're gonna fall back on your training, whether that's a good or a bad thing.
Mental or not.
Go back to 20. What year was that North won the state championship and we ran the ball every time in the 2-minute warning without a timeout?
That wasn't 19. No, 16.
Didn't throw the ball once.
Yeah. Coach Cowan.
No, it was Xander.
Xander Gray. That's right.
Coach Martin had his hands behind his back like this
He does.
Just
I can see his mannerisms.
It's you talk about crunch time and no timeouts.
Didn't care.
Didn't give one care. I'm just like, or Coach Lamanzi on the sidelines when they had gotten the late hit and then the PI, and it would have been easy to come unglued, and he's on the headsets. Keep your composure. The players are watching, like real time. So those are the things that I think people you just undervalue, especially with young people who have a tendency to be emotional.
Well, and to be more impacted by the behavior of their
2017.
The behavior of their leaders.
27-20. Yeah.
The younger you are, so college, obviously some, high school, but like the younger you are, the more malleable you are by the.
There's a lot of malleability.
Yeah. There's a lot of malleability when you're that young.
He dropped that the first 10 minutes of the show. I was like, this is going to be a long one.
Hey, by the way, sorry.
It's a real word.
I'm going to interrupt because I'm looking at NSA's website. And I love how in 2021 it says Gretna 7, Westside 3, and then in parentheses says title vacated. No, we know who won. We all were there.
Redacted.
We know.
Yeah, you do. You mark it out with a yellow highlighter.
We were there.
I can still see through that.
Yeah. We know what happened.
Yeah,
saw the game.
Still remember.
They won the game. Like,
yeah. It's like it's NCAA. It's like when they
same
vacate
thing.
wins. It's like, well,
what
I saw that game.
What
I
I don't
won.
understand is why did you pick that one?
I just saw it on the thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
because he likes
dude operates as an island.
Needling you a little bit, you know.
No, I just saw it.
I try to.
But no, I mean, like,
saying that kicked me out, so I had to go back.
There was that was one of the things that I always had an issue with Bo, right? Like if you had
just the inability
for him to keep his composure during games, like that matters. There's a reason.
That's a bunch of BS.
It was a bunch of BS, Bo. You should have been better. Like there's a reason why they made critical mistakes, right? Because
or things. Probably better example is how things could spiral.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Like one bad thing
downhill.
happened, then 3 bad things happened, and then they couldn't go get it back. Right. And that was like, for whatever other positives, negatives, however you feel about Bo, that was something I was like, he's in his 40s, early 50s by the time he left here. He's not changing. That's who he is. And that's a real problem. I've never really, I'm not much of a yeller myself, especially when like I was coaching. But that's one of the reasons I never really gravitated towards that, because it's like, if you are acting that way, what are you telling everyone else about how you should be acting, right? The other thing is, I just never thought that screaming at refs got you anywhere.
That's accurate.
Yeah, because it doesn't. So like, you just have a little conversation, be like, hey, can you tell me what you saw there? Because I saw something different.
What's going on with the Are you cool with transitioning? This is always a funny part of your off season.
Yeah,
because it's not really the off season. You're winding down live periods. Is what, 1 or 2 left?
Live period. Well, this weekend right now, and
there's 2 left though, right?
This and next. Yeah.
So that's 2.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. This is the first time.
Appreciate you listening, Ravi.
2. This is the first time in 15 years.
I don't know how many live periods there are left.
No, he just didn't answer the question. Are there 2 live periods left? Well, yeah, this week and next week. So 2?
2.
Well, yeah, this week and next week.
It's 2.
2?
That would be 2. Anyway, this is the first time in 15.
So this week and next week?
Yes, it's
4, 6, 8, 12.
Shut up, Shane.
That's actually a good drop.
First time in 15 years that I haven't been in a live period and not going to.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Just because
there's different factors. We'll say that. Leave it at that.
Oh.
Yeah.
You got your arms folded?
No, I don't. My arms, see, my hands.
His arms are wide open, aren't
they,
Shane?
Oh, God.
Wait. So you didn't want to make a sacrifice?
No.
It's kind of like being in your own prison.
He's trying to take his
wide open.
with arms wide open. He's trying to take his coverage higher. So
the worst possible band ever. Like ever.
He felt like he only had one last breath, and so he didn't want to use that.
He wasn't going to waste it on a live period.
Why did this like come back into my life? Why did?
Do you know how long I've been dodging Nickelback? For 12 years. I don't even like Nickelback.
Why is Creed cool right now?
It's always been cool. You just didn't know.
I actually owned the CD when
That's right.
You realize last Friday at this time,
Yeah,
my man logged in and he goes, damn, I'm 1,768 people in front of me.
Right.
And it went quickly.
It did
was
go
like
quick.
6,
but I was worried.
And Shane was out vaping because it was after the show.
I was concerned.
And I told Shane, I was like, yeah, I said, Numbnuts over here waited through 1,800 people. And Shane goes,
got them tickets, baby.
Shane goes,
we going.
There's 1,800 people going to
go see that.
Hell yeah. It's a week from tomorrow. I
So
can't
then
wait.
we got into trying to guess the numbers of that. What does that place hold? Because you can only stand
like 4,000.
Really?
Oh, you're gonna be.
Oh, it'd be sardine in there.
Can't wait.
Hopefully, it stays in the 80s because you get the low 80s starting on Wednesday.
Yeah, it should be all right. Should be all right. It's at like 8 o'clock, so it'll cool off by then.
Now with all that flood water over there,
Yeah, I mean, nothing says fun like sweating around other adults.
Nothing says fun
with
like
arms wide open.
mean,
At Stir Concert Cove, where like it just flooded.
Certain sweaty situations, I don't mind that much, but
get some bug spray.
I enjoy.
I need one of those wrist mosquito things that my kids have.
Are you doing
Have you been to Stir before? It's not bad. It's really not bad.
What they're one
I know you don't like concerts and people. And
well, that's a great question, Ravi Lulla.
I'm just saying it's not.
Can we go back to last week in Black
not
Friends?
bad venue.
That's where I want to go right now.
Because
1, Leroy. 2.
I actually don't know any Leroy's. Although one
You
could
just
play
asked-
for me, but I wouldn't consider him a friend.
You just asked that guy.
6. I got 6.
It's like Brian McKnight.
That's almost
out here.
yeah. Back at 1.
Yeah,
Well played.
I didn't even consider you one of them because you were mad at me that day.
I was a Brian McKnight Jodeci guy.
If I count you, I get.
I tried to teach him about Jodeci.
You don't
the
know who
other day.
Jodeci is?
No, I thought I got the name wrong. I couldn't
Doesn't
remember
know who it is.
I know
I
who
was
it is.
Okay, I was like,
I just couldn't remember that. I thought it
'cause
was
back in the day. You put that on. Game over.
on and popping.
Allegedly.
Back in the day.
Allegedly.
Listen, when he had that thick head of hair, you watch out.
To this day.
I'm
Hey,
just saying.
listen. Are you doing?
I got more black friends than you got Indian friends. That's all I'm saying.
I know for sure I have 2.
Who's the second?
Tim.
Wait, he's your
You
friend.
guys aren't friends.
Hey, I hung out with him a couple of pre-games. Steve Merrick
You
introduced me
talked
to
to
him.
him.
I think
If we're counting every
I
black
think-
person I've ever interacted with, then
think
it's
he would-
more than 6.
Well, he'd go have a sandwich with me or something.
Oh no.
You don't
Might
like to
go
be
get
in
some
public.
masala fries
That's
with me
true.
though.
That's true. I will be.
Some what?
Some masala
I
fries.
don't know what that
They're
is.
good.
I'm sorry.
Can we when we
Canard,
come back?
where
Can
our
we get
people
into
go.
the camp schedule thing
Sure.
with football? That'd be pretty amazing.
Not a lot of Indian friends hanging out with you. I'm just saying.
By the way, there's
There's a billion of us, man. There's a lot to choose from.
I dated an Indian girl once.
I actually haven't. I did. Never did. We'll be back probably.
Mike Sautter 1, Ravi 0.
That's true. I did date a black girl though.
Wow.
We will be back. 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 You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio.
Welcome back to Hurrdat Sports Radio, AM 590, ESPN Omaha, ESPN Tri-Cities, KFOR, and Lincoln. Sometimes the breaks are better than the show. Shout out to our guy D, Skymex.
Yeah.
Came and visit us. We got some some gear.
So you think maybe he could
show him the patch. That thing's awesome.
He could maybe break my phobia of helicopters.
Yeah, go jump on one.
I'm never getting on a helicopter.
I am.
Like, unless I'm in a place where medically I have to be like helivac somewhere.
The thought terrifies me.
I did that one thing in Adventureland that just shoot you straight up in there. I felt
I
like
don't
I was
even
gonna
like
die.
planes, man.
But I would do that too.
I have zero.
No,
I would
why?
go in a helicopter. Why not?
I have zero. There's
Kobe,
nothing in
that's
me
why
that
not.
says, ooh, right? For one, I have zero. Zero interest to get on any high ride ever.
You never wanted to like when you're in Vegas and they have the helicopter rides.
No. No interest whatsoever.
I watched the deal yesterday because it is Shark Week. Shout out to the greatest animal on the planet.
Took a break from his serial killer shows to watch sharks.
Actually,
I like true crime like documentary
well,
stuff.
actually, I am
All right,
watching
Steven.
Criminal Minds Evolution.
Well, actually,
I think Steven is past the
One
cool
day-
points.
one
I
day,
like Steven. That's just it's a thing now.
if Damon. If
I
Damon-
prefer, like, I'm telling you, and I'm dead serious.
Mhm.
May just be dead if I'm not good at what I'm
if
doing.
you fall off the face of the earth one day, and you were gonna know what happened, you're gonna be because you
Have
watch all
eaten-
these serial killer movies. You're gonna be gone one day, and it's like, yeah, that dude probably did that.
It's ridiculous.
I made my man Brett. We were pulling like this meat with these orange rubber gloves instead of like these other
I'm sorry,
blue
what?
ones.
Hold on, what?
You know how you shred meat?
Phrasing. Yeah.
You know, and the
Keep going.
okay.
Let's go, baby.
You're fortunate I made it back through the break.
This is.
That's a panty dropper.
It's not.
Wow.
Hey,
I mean, it's Southern vibes, isn't it?
He was
okay. I'm gonna
he was shredding meat as
Yes.
cooking.
And
pulling
the,
apart.
then the
Pull- yeah,
and the
pulling apart.
the gloves had like little like grippers, like the little
Didn't know you had to wear gloves for that.
the meat was
just-
relatively warm, and I don't like
Well, yeah, if it's
I don't want anything in my
it's
nails.
warm up, it'll shred apart.
Yeah, it shreds easier when it's warm.
Anyway,
Because when it's cold, it doesn't shred very
you're just
well.
not gonna let me live the breakdown. I know what you guys are doing. It's not. It's not funny.
I can't. I'm showing incredible restraint here.
I don't know what you wanted me to say. First of all,
The thing you said second was much better.
A little bit of that WC.
Also, okay.
that's fine. Am
You
I?
wanna finish
am
your
I?
story?
Am I? I
I
don't
have a
even know.
question for
I
you.
just like those gloves better because you can grip things. That was
Okay.
that
Are
was my
you-
point.
Are
And,
you
and
gonna
you're
get a?
still an idiot.
Are you gonna get
By
a
the
pet
way.
cow?
No, that's my man Les. He
Yeah. You didn't respond. I was like, wait, Damon's getting a pet cow? That's gonna be interesting.
Like a
He
side
can't
of
keep
beef
his-
for an
I
actual
was
pet
talking
cow.
He can't
about
keep his dogs in his yard. He's gonna get a cow.
No, he keeps them in his yard. They just can't stop from yelling at the other
Right.
dogs in the next yard.
Hey, they broke 2 of the wooden fence poles.
Dang.
Yeah, I have to nail that thing back in. I don't
Yeah.
want to go
Do you
talk
own
to
a
my
hammer?
neighbors. Yeah, I have 2 actually.
Oh wow.
I have to ask Zoe where they are, but when she was messing with one the other day, she probably didn't put it back. But anyway, since this is make fun of me the last 10 minutes, I don't know what you want to. I'm gonna be mad
All
about
right, I'm
that.
sorry. Go ahead.
Because I don't know what you wanted me to say. All right, one time I said whatever, but anyway,
It's fine. It's fine.
I like those gloves better. Mike,
Okay,
camp
sorry.
schedule. We gonna do it?
Camps. Camps.
Yeah, that was.
You mean
real,
I
was-
needed
was
a-
funny.
You mean practices?
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk about practice?
We're gonna do it. I need to start working on kind of getting that together. Probably end of next week.
Because I think we start. Are we the 12th?
The
Friday's
12th is
the August
every
9th,
day is the
and I
12th.
know I'm in Stanton. That's how I
Everybody's the
know.
12th.
The 12th. Okay.
Stanton for what?
They have a like a booster club.
I mean, they have a
kickoff.
really good football team there.
They're gonna be incredible.
They're gonna be really good.
They
I'm
said that
thinking
last
about-
year. So that was one of those teams that I watched last year after the state finals. I always look at the rosters because it's in my. I just keep them to see what
Right.
people have coming back. Although it doesn't really matter in high school now.
Crap
Well,
right now.
Class A, it doesn't matter.
Transfer you.
Oh, we didn't. Class A didn't even start that. It happened in much smaller
I'm just
schools and much
saying.
lower classes.
I don't know. I guess a decent Class B program lost a good player too. So anyway,
So I looked at that roster coming back, and I looked at Putney, and I'm like, they're gonna be loaded next year.
they're very good. Yeah.
So I'm not sure
Coach
who's.
Sautter does a good job too.
Yeah, good
guy.
dude.
Yeah. I might actually I looked at kind of I'm thinking of because I've always just done those practice things basically in Omaha because it's easy because I can get to like 3 in a day or whatever.
Yeah.
But I have thought like, can I go, like Stanton, Battle Creek, Norfolk Catholic.
Oh, just hit that corridor?
Maybe
Yeah.
Lakeview, like all in a day or
Yeah.
something if the times match up. So, and then same thing, kind of like Aurora, Central City, kind of that. Find somewhere to do that. I've kind of thought about doing that too. But yes, I would be.
I took
would be at
Highway
practices.
92 all the way to Central City. I was
I've
like
done that.
full-fledged grown up.
I've took Highway 92.
How you like them apples, Ravi?
You can take 92
Regardless
all the
of the
way,
words that I use because I don't cuss.
all the way to almost. Well, I guess St. Paul and then to Broken Bow.
I didn't go as far as St. Paul, but on the way there, I did call Sevier and ask him if he was in St. Paul.
Yeah.
I thought he went to St. Paul over the 4th, but he's New Orleans this week, I think.
Oh, New Orleans. Never been there.
Me either.
Yeah.
You ain't missing nothing.
I don't have a desire really.
Except good food. But outside of that,
yeah.
you eat like a 4-year-old anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I had Lucky Charms this morning.
No, yeah.
That's what the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Lucky Charms.
I had Lucky Charms.
You don't like Lucky Charms?
44 years old. You know what? I had a bowl of Lucky Charms this morning.
Lucky Charms and some coffee.
That thing wet.
Wow. You didn't.
What?
Lucky Charms and the coffee were separate, right?
Yeah. Right
Okay.
here is
Okay.
where
I'm just
coffee's
making.
right.
I just had a weird visual for a second that you're like
Yeah.
pouring coffee. I'm like, what?
Lucky Charms or Frosted Mini Wheats is my go-to.
Lucky for you guys.
You should get some fiber in the frosted mini wheats. That's like that's an adult thing to do.
Hey, so do you have a top 5 in your head?
Football, Class A?
Yeah.
Yep. It's in my head.
Would you like to
Oh,
share
want me to
it?
get- want me to guess?
Well, I mean, I think it'd be pretty easy.
Miller South.
Miller
Yeah.
South 1. West Side 2.
North South, West Side.
Don't tell me.
It's a team that, like, for some reason people don't talk about enough because, like, they're not like visible in the summer.
Omaha North.
Nope.
Hmm.
Elkhorn South.
Good call.
Elkhorn South 3.
We play them.
Elkhorn South's gonna be good.
4 would be
Why are you staring at
Kearney.
Kearney's gonna be good.
I'd go Kearney.
They're gonna be up there, yeah.
And then 5 is
A little bit of a toss up from them.
who are you going with?
That mix. Without seeing a lineman, right? I do think Bellevue West is going to be okay. Because
The thing that worries me
Link-
about them is he may add quarterback run game back to his
he's
offense.
going to.
So
Lincoln East is another one.
I'm with you. I'm with
depending
you.
on what Jeter-
I'm with you.
what
But hey,
happens
listen, I keep saying this. Go to that school and kind of ask around. Their stable of quarterbacks may be the best in the state.
Yeah,
they
they're
have
good.
they have options.
I think East is, and they, so he can adjust now. Like when Noah Walters, remember him?
I'm just telling you,
he changed his offense for that guy.
East has options.
East, I think, will be pretty good.
How far outside of that group is like North and Central?
Right, kind of
Right
there.
now.
North up front's gonna be way good.
Yeah, right.
Because Tyson's gonna play both ways, like he should.
Awesome! Can't wait for that open.
Have fun.
And they're gonna run. I mean, they're gonna run. They're gonna run the ball.
So I'm as excited about that as any because
they had
people think you can't stop the run in an odd front. We would get ahead, so it was hard for teams to commit to
keep
running the
running,
ball.
yeah.
But shoot, I talked to Coach Williams. I saw him at Summer League basketball, and he's like, "If we'd have played you guys, we'd have tried to run the ball." And I'm like, you know what? I don't even know what that's
I
like.
think North is probably going to be a little better than people think. They had some people leave and transfer out, but I think they're going to be pretty
And this is like a perfect Coach Martin team because I think he feels disrespected.
Donovan Jones' little brother is going to be coming. Darian is coming.
Darian's a
Isn't
stud.
that Micah's guy?
And
Yeah,
then
oh, yeah.
Connor,
He
and then
looked- oh, yeah.
O'Neal is back. They have some good receivers
I
and
know.
stuff now. Like I think North is probably in that 5, roughly 5, 6.
Good to see that 2 of those teams he said we play.
Coming up next, we
3,
got
WS.
Matt Vrzal. We'll see. Happy birthday to Matt.
He's
coming
mad
up.
at me.
We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back. You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Radio. Now let's find out what Matt Vrzal is better at. Telling stories or making pizza.
Matt.
Matt's an exceptional young man.
Matt Vrzal.
Happy birthday, Matt.
You know, Matt, he's a tremendous athlete.
Matt Vrzal.
Come on, Matt, I'm with you.
You know, like Matt Vrzal, you're one of the sexiest people in the world, but you're not one of the most beautiful. How does that happen?
Here is Matt Vrzal.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
As we wrap up the show here on Hurrdat Sports Radio, before we get to Matt Vrzal, I got to tell you about our friends at Union Omaha. Make sure you get to unionomaha.com to get to their upcoming match just a couple weeks away on Saturday, July 27th against Chattanooga at 7 p.m. at Warner Park. In the meantime, you can also go shop on their website as well, find out everything else that's going on with Union Omaha as well. That's unionomaha.com. Now we bring in our friend and the birthday boy, former Husker, owner of Pison's Pizzeria, Matt Vrzal. What's up, Verz?
What's up, boys? How you doing?
I don't know, Matty. How are you doing, bud? You good? I know you're working.
Yeah.
I know you're working.
Yep. We had a big order today. We'll at 3 p.m. today we will go to carry out only. So tents are getting set up outside, beer garden. I still do a little bit of prep, run 2-3 errands, and we'll be ready to roll. Probably won't have to catch a nap, not gonna lie.
Hey, Shane, can you turn mics?
Are people going to carry you out of there later tonight? Is that the plan?
No.
I mean,
This is just home opener round 2. So I've already knocked out Pedialyte. This will be. People are nervous. They're like, "Oh my God, how drunk are you going to get?" I was like, "Do you not pay attention when I go to the home opener? Like, I start at 7 and finish at 2. Like,
Be all right.
This ain't.
He's built for this.
He only turned 50 once.
I've done this. I mean, this is like a couple days stretch here.
My kids are excited.
It'll be fun. I'm excited to see everybody.
My kids are excited. They'll probably give you a hug. They don't even hug me.
Zoe gave this dude a high five yesterday in the
That's
kitchen.
What?
Oh, they just sat. They sat and chopped it up, thick as thieves.
My kid, last time we were there, my kid runs up to him and gives him a hug when he walks in the door. I'm like, what? You don't even do that to me, and I'm your dad.
Yeah, I've said something similar. I just said something like that yesterday to Zoe.
Somebody who shall remain nameless was very chippy yesterday when I dropped off an awesome T-shirt.
It wasn't me.
Who would that have been? Was it Micah? Was it me?
Talking to one of said person's children, and we were having a great conversation. And she, rightfully so, does not see a lot of like huge bald white men, so she's a little nervous. So she's kind of fidgeting around with stuff, and he got mad. And I don't know who that guy was, but man, he was mad. She was just trying to like calm herself. I didn't think it was that big a deal, but somebody did. I don't know who that was.
Full disclosure, the context was she kept I'm trying to prepare food, and she's messing.
Hammer?
She's messing with
pulling a.
She's messing with everything on the counter, but she's like got a big old head on the counter because she's infatuated with what Matt's doing. And I'm
take that back. That was mean. She does not have a big head.
To stop messing with everything and just talk to him. And she's.
But I think though that's how she's getting over being nervous around me because she tell her that I'm the mean person.
Hey, did you hear? She was like, "Well, Dad, we're just talking."
Yeah, that was awesome. I was so happy, but you were kind of in cooking mode, and I know when I get in cooking mode, I don't like to be like taunted. And she was like, she gave it to you. I was like, "Oh, that was so great," but I didn't respond.
That's great.
I laughed to myself.
So how are you feeling about having to entertain a bunch of yahoos?
I'm so excited. Like I can't even tell you. Like this, I mean, you know me a long time. I just like hanging out with my buddies, and we're gonna have former players that I played football with from Grand Island in Nebraska, and then former kids that I've coached from Malcolm, and hopefully I've got some North Star and some Northwest kids invited, and of course the Scott boys are all fired up. So, but there'll be parents. It's just going to be fun, and I'm so excited just to hang out with everybody and shoot the breeze and have a good night.
You know, Vrzal was in there the other day, and I didn't get to see you. I was a little upset.
Yep, some of the nights I'm the oven guy, so I'm stuck in fumes.
Yeah, I think you were. I think you were neck deep in the kitchen. I think I saw you pop your head out once, but didn't get a chance to talk to you.
Yep, we had some of the boys. You know, we get around holidays, and I'll never. I mean, I'm probably not a good boss, but I'll never get in their way of like, hey, we're gonna go do this. I'm like, okay. And they're like, oh, you don't want to. I'm like, no. I was like, why am I going to try to stop you from going and doing something? Like, I'll figure it out. So we had some youngins in the back, caught a couple of ass tunes. Nobody cried, and came back stronger the next day. They went at it, and now they're better. One of them came in the day after ass tune. He goes, I'm running the line tonight. I was like, okay. I was like, we'll see. Let me know how that goes.
Hey, I can't remember. I was making fun of how you knocked on my door yesterday, like you worked for the FBI or something. But was the door locked?
I don't walk into people's house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no.
I think that I was just thinking in retrospect. I think that's what put me in a bad mood. I think maybe I was startled.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay.
I just didn't want to walk into your house. I didn't know what kind of mood you were in. Because then I would have gotten you just walk into people's house. Like I was in a no-win situation. So I just chose to knock.
I'm glad how you make it seem like it's just I'm just this miserable soul. That's awesome.
Well, you weren't having a good day. I could tell.
Yeah.
I don't know what my problem was, but that's probably accurate.
I don't know. He got mad at me early yesterday, and then it was all bets were off after that.
Man, everybody has them.
Yeah.
But I figured I'd play safe there.
You know what?
Who is that? Is that one of your kids' cars across the street that has no bumper?
What?
Yeah. So full disclosure, as you can see, that's the only person that parks in the street.
Your kid.
Yeah.
And it's the same house.
Right behind your driveway.
Dude, it is. Thank you for noticing that I'm not nuts. I feel like
Don't
the,
park behind
the
the
grumpy
driveway.
old man. I am so not that dude, but both of them have the same cars, same style, the white one and the silver one. And they've only had them for probably 4 or 5 months. And they're both a mess. I'm like, stop parking in the street. You have a great big driveway across the street. But yeah, that's my neighbor. It's my neighbor.
Yeah, I didn't know that was one of the boys' cars. Ooh, missing the bumpers. something went right there.
Nah.
And that probably played into me knocking on the door. I was like, man, if they lost that bumper, he's probably not in a good mood. I'm just gonna knock on the door.
No, and I know you get along with Micah really well, as I saw yesterday in the kitchen when he was riding for your brand too, which is pissing me off. But that's the one that you really got to start the driving lessons with, because he's kind of afraid. He's not interested in really driving, if you can believe that.
So you're telling me there's a Benning child that would be interested in you just catering to him?
Oh, imagine that. Oh.
Wow.
Hey,
Shots
fired.
Listen, now full disclosure, the dude that just said that did just call his daughter out of name 2 weeks ago.
Hey, do you remember when you and Jay were scrambling and I went and get Caleb a ride and I was like, hey, you're going to drive today? He goes, no, I don't think I am. I was like, it wasn't a question. I said, you're driving. And he just kind of looked at me and goes, oh, okay. So, Micah and his big diamond stud earrings are going to get the same treatment someday.
Wow. Good talk.
We took him into you remember that? We were in the Target parking lot, me and him. I was like, oh boy, here we go. I was like, don't.
Driving school?
No, I asked him how mad he was taking him to his workout, and he goes, well, he made me drive. I go, oh, that good. I mean, that's how you know somebody's close, because it's not like he even got my permission. It's not like, hey, I know this is your kid, but it's more like, hey, I know I'm family. This is what's best for him. This is what he's doing.
If I know me pretty good, I think I shot you a text after we had drove. It's like, hey, Caleb's going to drive. But then, hey, I'll give it to him. So I was like, all right, you ready to drive to the west side? And he looked me dead in the face. He goes, nope. I was like, all right, put her in park. We'll switch seats.
Nope.
And keep in mind, I know none of this until like this very moment.
Have you ever had to because there is a Benning story of like, oh, hey, I don't like whatever lunch is. Can you grab me lunch and bring it to me? Did you ever do that, Matt? Because I know that happened before.
How did I lose control of this?
A lot of times.
Yeah, we ain't on that plan. We will be on the plan of it, then you're going to be real hungry.
Yeah, I know. Talk about catered to. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Hey,
you have to go what? Because what? Yeah, you have to go get your kid food because he's at school and he doesn't like the food that they're serving.
It was game day, and we eat a certain way.
We've given. Oh, that's different. If it's game day, it's superstition. Yeah, that doesn't count.
Okay.
No, they're just.
But no, hey, we have teased Damon quite a bit, but the most polite, well-mannered kids, easily top 5 of my buddy's children. Like, great kids.
They are very polite.
Hey, what's your drink of choice tonight, Matty?
We're probably just gonna go. I really love the pops and edible, but I think I get so I'll probably
okay.
I'll probably stick on the vodka train.
And that's
sometimes that's kind of a crapshoot. If I take those and I get sleepy, I'm like, oh, I can't take the chance.
Oh wow!
And that's the show for today. Verz, happy birthday! Also, love being the only guy up here that wasn't invited, but that's all right. We love you anyway, Verz. Have a good birthday, bud.
Oh, are we having pity party? Somebody was supposed to tell the crew.
I thought we were friends. So that's all right.
Two of the people got invited said tell the crew. I don't know who those two people were.
Not me. No, I don't know.
Appreciate you telling the crew, guys. All right, Verse. Have a good one, bud.
Yeah.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.